City. It's that sort of stretch here in the Bronx, and we're going to have baseball. 120 degrees on the field earlier today. It's about 100 right now, and the players are going to try to stay cool and pick up a win while they're doing it. As tonight, My Nine presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the New York Yankees against the Oakland Athletics in the first of three from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball along with Paul O'Neill. I'm Michael Kay. Well, the Yankees arrived home very early this morning. They got to bed about 3:30 in the morning after a long road trip. 2 cities, 4 games in each city. And here's how they did as they head into this long homestand. They were 2-2 in Toronto. They hit well. They didn't pitch that great. In Tampa Bay, 2-2. They didn't hit that well, and they pitched outstanding. Now, Toronto, the ERA, 4.76. But one guy who did a good job was the guy who's starting tonight for the Yankees, Phil Hughes.
Well, Phil Hughes, I mean, he was anxious to get back off that minor league train where he was rehabbing. He had his best outing of the year, his first win of the season in Toronto, and you can see how he did. He had a good curveball working, and when you come back, you never know. I mean, Toronto's a good hitting ball club, had a good fastball there. This is a big game for him to try to keep this thing going, get some momentum, and get going for the rest of the year.
All right, let's take a look at tonight's pitching matchup. Brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. To get dunked, go to www.getdunked.com. That's GETDUNKD.com. Trevor Cahill will go for the A's 8-8, 3.16. Phil Hughes, after picking up his first victory, 1-2, 8.44. The numbers on Cahill are very good, Paul, but against the Yankees, he has not done well in his career.
Yeah, he might be one of those pitchers that just puts a little bit too much pressure on himself. He's 0-3 career. I mean, this guy won 18 games last year as the A's. They do not score him runs. Very tough place to pitch in Oakland this year.
Yeah, he said this is the one place that he has not pitched well, has not given a representative outing at all. So we'll see how he does under searing heat. Heat's going to be a big story today, so we're going to talk with Gene Monahan. When we get back, the Yankee trainer will say what he's doing to keep his guys cool. The Yankees against the Oakland A's, a big part of this game, obviously, is going to be the extraordinary heat that has really hit New York City today, and it's supposed to be tomorrow as well. We're here with a longtime Yankee trainer, Gene Monahan. Gene, I'm sure this is something that you're worried about going into tonight's game.
Not so much worried, concerned that everybody pays attention to what we're trying to accomplish here, and that's the concept that this is an all-day deal. In other words, when you wake up this morning, the process starts. We have our guys hydrating. We spend an awful lot of time on nutrition, a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, a lot of rest, stay indoors during the game, curb down your workouts pregame, save some of that energy for the event because we need everybody strong and tough tonight. And then we do all our stuff during the ball game to keep them cool and keep them going, and we should be good.
All right, what's some of the things that you do during the game?
During the game itself, we use a lot of we're forcing a lot of fluids. A lot of water, a lot of Gatorade. I can say Gatorade. And we do a lot of Gatorade, a lot of water, and We use some ammonia water buckets where we have some towels and crushed ice with aromatic ammonia in there that we use to liven up the face, get the breathing going good, and clear up the nasal passages and so forth, and bring them back to life a little bit. And we'll use spray bottles with mist. We'll mist the players' faces and their arms and keep them cool between innings during the game. And the dugout has got some cold air being blown out through the blowers there and so forth and that. And we'll have them downstairs in the runway and have them cool off, move around a little bit, get on the bike a little bit for those guys that aren't playing, so they're not sitting around getting stagnant. It's a constant thing for the 3 hours, and we just keep them going.
Now, you're going to hydrate too, Gene, right?
Absolutely. I got my water and I got my Gatorade ready for the game, and everybody has to stay sharp.
Good stuff, Gene.
Thank you.
All right, that's Gene Monahan. Coming up, lineups, first pitch baseball, right here on My 9. Quick deposit. Take a step forward and chase what matters. The Yankees begin their longest road trip, or homestand, should I say, for the remainder of this season. They will play 10 games over the next 10 days. And let's take a look at the A's starting lineup, brought to you by Nissan. It's Nissan's bottom line sales event. We're laying it all on the line. Visit ChooseNissan.com or your local dealer today. There you have it, with Jamal Weeks leading off and playing second base, and that's Weeks up there right now. He takes a pitch outside. You got Coco Crisp in center, Josh Willingham the DH, Hideki Matsui in left, Scott Sizemore at third, David DeJesus at right, Connor Jackson at first, Kurt Suzuki will catch, Cliff Pennington, the shortstop, will bat ninth. And the pitch to Weeks is a strike, 1-1. First pitch temperature here at the stadium, 100 degrees even, so we are ready to roll. Play some baseball here in the Bronx. And there's a strike to Weeks, 1-2. Weeks is the brother of Ricky Weeks, and here are the numbers on Phil Hughes. 5 starts, 1 and 2, 8.44, 29 hits over 21 1/3 innings. Opponents hitting .326 against him. 1-2 to Weeks. It's lofted to left field. Moving over toward the line is Gardner. He'll make the play for the first out. Let's take a look now at the New York Yankees pitcher scouting report, brought to you by your Tri-State Ford dealers.
Old form. The Yankees hope he's found his old form. Last outing gave up 2 runs. His best outing, his first win of the year. Long time no see. Has not thrown to Cervelli all year. All 5 starts. Russell Martin is caught, so this will be interesting to see how they get along tonight. Likes the heat. I did a lot of homework here, Michael.
Did you really?
He started 2 games last year, and he won them both where the game time temperature was 90 or above. How do you like that? Bringing out some stats.
Wow. Today's above.
Yeah, it's way above. He should win 2 victories tonight.
Here's Coco Crisp. The 0-1 to Crisp. So what you did was you sat down as you were preparing today, and you went through the starting temperature of every game he pitched last year. That tells me something.
I was
degrees.
Just going to update that and tell you that I didn't do anything about it. Somebody just told me that, and I used it.
Well, it's 100 degrees first pitch temperature, and that's what it is on the field right now. Now, we told you the starting temperature was 100 degrees. The last time the Yankees played in the game with a starting temperature of 100 degrees was back on August 4th of 2008 at Texas. It was 101. The last home game was in 1999 against Baltimore. 100 degrees first pitch. That was July 5th, 1999. You were playing that day.
You know what? I remember playing the Minnesota Twins one day, and it was 100, something like this. And I remember getting a base hit off Frankie Rodriguez. That just tells you how weird your mind is. You remember days like that. And playing in heat like this is different. I mean, you do battle it a little bit. I think you mentally battle it more than physically. I mean, you're used to going out and playing every day, but I think as you get tired, you lose your focus a little bit.
Well, Coco Crisp walks, and that's the guy you wanted to keep off the base. He has 27 stolen bases, been caught 9 times. The A's, let's put it this way, okay? They don't score much. And let's take a look at the league leaders brought to you by New York Lottery. Hey, you never know. Crisp is in a rare offensive category where an A is part of the league leaders. He's 5th in stolen base, or tied for 4th. But they don't steal at a very good rate. They get caught about 33% of the time, which is not good. They don't score runs. They have a low batting average, low on-base percentage, low slugging percentage. The thing that they do well is they pitch exceptionally well. 3.15 team ERA, which is the best in the American League. That one is skied by Willingham deep to left center field. Going back is Granderson, and he's going to make the play on the warning track. Tagging is Crisp. He's going for second, and he's going to make it easily as the throw is wide. And that's going to bring up Hideki Matsui, and let's see if Hideki gets a good hand as he comes up. 500 home runs that he had recently.
Number 55, Hideki Matsui.
Sure, fans are so good in New York about players coming back. Hideki Matsui, big part of a championship, MVP of the World Series. And so, I mean, good memories for him and the fans.
And he just recently hit his 500th home run. This was on Wednesday in Detroit at Comerica. 500 home runs between Japan and the States. And there's a strike to Hideki, and here is that home run.
Swing hasn't changed much. Still kind of bails out with his lower half, keeps his upper half in there.
Funny story, because that ball hit the foul pole and then bounced into the stands. And we all know the story of Christian Lopez here at Yankee Stadium, who gave Derek Jeter his 3,000th hit. And one of the coaches for the A's went to the guy who caught the ball at Comerica and said, "We'd like that ball for Hideki." He said, "Absolutely not, unless you want to buy it." So they did not give the ball to Hideki. Derek has his 3,000th hit safely tucked away. And here's some of the negotiating. The guy said, "Nope, not going to happen." Matsui had a nice run with the Yankees. 597 ribbies in 7 seasons. That's the second most in that span for any other Yankee other than A-Rod, who had 716 in those 7 years.
You always look at situations like this. Matsui really, really thrived in getting people in from third, getting people in with 2 outs. And, these are very tough at-bats for him because, he's in the middle of this order. You see some of his career highlights with the Yankees. Grand slam in the first game. I remember that one well. But going back to my point, when you're not scoring runs and you're one veteran hitter that knows how to hit in these situations, you don't know if you're going to see a lot to hit. Pitcher's going to pitch around you. They just know that this team isn't long enough to send guys up there that are used to driving in runs.
Pitch is outside, and the count is full at 3-2. So Coco Crisp at second, 2 men out. Matsui's gotten hot of late, 8 of 19. Now Cervelli wants to go out and talk with Hughes.
Used to drive me crazy as a hitter because all of a sudden you're in the count. Now you're 3-2. Now we're going to have a little meeting, and they're saying, "Hey, let's go after this guy, or don't be stupid and give him something to hit." And it just gets the wheels turning as a hitter a little bit too much. But again, that's Matsui is a veteran hitter, and you know when you see that last pitch 2-2, a changeup, you've got to think as a hitter that he's not going to give in and give you anything to hit.
And the 3-2. Pitch is low, so he walks Matsui.
Another changeup down and out of the zone, just trying to get him to wave at something out of the zone. See Jorge over there giving him an earful. It's one thing that has changed so much that, you know, so many people have changed teams, but, you know, close relationships, because, I mean, when you're in a World Series with a player, you have a bond with them. Strike one. Good fastball by Phil Hughes.
Closed captioning is brought to you by your local Lexus dealers. Sizemore's in a slump, 2 for his last 25. Also, he proved in Detroit, Paul, that he's a tough guy. Got hit in the jaw with a fastball by Rick Porcello. Left the game, but he's fine and didn't have to go on the DL. A 1-1. There's a strike. And here's that hit by pitch. Scary.
Yeah, these are the ones I don't like to look at. I mean, it's just...
He said he felt a little woozy walking off, but nothing broken. He said his neck is more sore than anything. 1-2. Sliced down the right field line. It's a base hit. It's going to get past Swisher and roll to the wall. Scoring is Coco Crisp, and they're going to hold up Hideki Matsui at third. It's an RBI double for Sizemore, and the A's have a run here in the top of the first inning.
You talked about Sizemore. He's really been struggling when he has not hit pitches like this way to be struggling, because this ball's a fastball down and away. Does a good job of just slapping it to right field. Swisher gets a good care of him out there, gets the ball in, saves a run. Really good piece of hitting by Sizemore. If you're Melvin, manager of Oakland, you're probably thinking to yourself, wow, we can score a run. We can knock in a guy with 2 outs.
Here's David DeJesus. And there's a strike. David went to Rutgers University. Got a lot of family and friends here at the ballpark. He kind of got buried on the bench by Bob Guerin, who started the season as the manager of the A's, but he was replaced on June 9th by Bob Melvin. And Melvin has given DeJesus another shot. No one's popped up and had a play.
Now this is where you know you're not a good hitting team. Is, you know, Phil Hughes was trying to throw that ball inside, and you see where it ends up. It ends up right down Broadway, and you know, those are the pitches as a hitter you can't miss. You foul that ball off, then you've given him a chance to make a good pitch. And as a hitter with men in scoring position, to get a pitch like that, you got to put it in play.
The 0-2. Breaking ball is low. 1-2. It also makes you a little worried about Hughes, that he would miss his spot by that much. 24 pitches so far for the Yankee right-hander. With Bob Guerin, 27 and 36. With Bob Melvin, 3 games under 500, 16 and 19. The 1-2. Strike 3. Breaking ball, backdoor, outside corner. Get out of further trouble. 1 run, 1 hit. 2 men left. The A's won, and the Yankees come to the bat. Brett Gardner's in left field. He'll lead off. Batting second, the captain and the shortstop, Derek Jeter. Curtis Granderson in center field is batting third tonight. Mark Teixeira will drop to the cleanup spot as the DH. Robinson Cano back to fifth at the second base spot. Nick Swisher is in right field. Jorge Posada will play first tonight. Eduardo Nunez at third, batting eighth, and batting ninth and catching Francisco Cervelli. And the pitcher for the A's is Trevor Cahill. 3.16 ERA with an 8-8 record. He's made 21 starts, 118 hits in 134 innings, 99 strikeouts. Opponents hit just 238 against him. Let's take a look now at the A's pitcher scouting report brought to you by Prudential. Prudential, bring your challenge.
Well, Yankee woes. I mean, his career against the Yankees has not been good, 0-3, but I'm going to tie it together here, Mike. He's been better against the best. I mean, he's 7-4 career with a 2-3 against teams with winning records. So, and in a rough stretch, he got off to a start in a career. He was 28-9, unbelievable. And then all of a sudden, he's 2-8 over his last 13 starts.
He said that in his career, the Yankees are the only team that he has not pitched decently against. And there's something about it. The first time at Yankee Stadium, he did not handle that well. That was on August 5th of last year. 8 earned runs in 4 innings. So let's see how the Yankees do against him tonight. They're down 1-0, bottom of the first. Here's Gardner. And there's a strike. Brett has been on fire since the All-Star break. 15 for 29. That's .517. And against the right-hander leading off. Pitches high.
Think about Brett Gardner. You take away April, obviously you can. I mean, he got off to a kind of a tough start. He's been one of the more consistent average hitters the Yankees have been putting out there every single day.
He has a 9-game hitting streak and the 1-1. 2-1. Joe Girardi did not post his lineup today until 5:31. Team didn't have to report till 5:30. He wanted to check with some guys how they felt. They got in late last night, early this morning. And he pretty much put the lineup out there that you thought. Jeter drops to second. Granderson moves to third. We told you all of that. And he gives Teixeira half a day off at the DH.
Now with the new computer age and stuff, everything's printed out. The old handwritten lineup cards, I kind of miss those. Good pitch right there by Cahill. That two-seamer you throw at the left-hander's hip, bring it back over the inside corner. You know what I'm talking about, Michael? The old days, you had the best handwriting, the coach with the best handwriting. You see that two-seamer, you can really see the seam on the ball running back out over the plate.
Here's Derek Jeter. Rob Thompson, the Yankee third base coach, does that lineup card. He has a program in his computer that prints it out. During the run when you were here, who was the one who printed it?
You know, I'm trying to think that, but it always looked pretty. Let me get that all. You come back to me with
sure.
that one? Sure.
Jeter grounds one sharply to Weeks. And there's 2 away. Derek has been struggling since he picked up his 3,000th hit and went 5 for 5. He has really been reaching. He's 6 for his last 30 now, and he finished the road trip 2 for his last 12.
You know, I think I'm going with Gary Tuck there. I think Gary Tuck. Remember Gary Tuck
right.
used to be with. I think he printed those out.
Here's Curtis Granderson. Curtis hitting .270. Now leads the Yankees with 26 home runs. Against Cahill, in his career, he's 1 for 11. Count 0-2.
You know, it's funny that you learn so much more about players when they're having good years, because obviously the media studies them more and stuff. And the more you learn about Curtis Granderson, the more you seem to like him.
And the more he gets hit.
Other than Lester Cahill, and you let one go. But, I mean, he seems to do the right things. I mean, he plays hard. He's very humble. He's having a tremendous year. Now he gets one in the thigh. You see Cahill's reaction. Tried to throw that two-seamer at him and run it back. Problem when it doesn't run back, it ends up in the player's thigh.
It's amazing. He's been a pincushion of late. He got hit by David Price on the back. Fouled the ball off his foot in Tampa Bay as well. Really been banged up, and now gets hit here with 2 outs in the first.
Well, you know, you start drawing attention to pitchers when you're in the league leaders of home runs, and you know, a lot of the times the ball out over the plate, he's able to hook that ball in the stands. And they must be thinking they can get him out inside. And, you know, if you have home run power, they're not going to miss out over the plate. You're going to get hit more. But
this is how he got beaten up in Tampa. He gets hit there, runs into the wall, fouls one off his instep, and then gets plunked by Price.
I mean, you know, you usually, you know, that last ball off Cahill, you get hit in the thigh or you get hit in the arm. But to get hit in the small of the back, I mean, that, especially David Price throws hard.
There's a strike to Teixeira. They have the shift on for Teixeira. Weeks is playing almost like you would in Central Park in a softball game. He is in shallow right field. Pennington is on the second base side of the bag, and the third baseman, Sizemore, is playing where the shortstop will play.
Now that's funny because it's a shift, obviously, but it's not the usual shift. So they've done some things with their scouts that you know, shows where he hits the ball. Most of the time that Weeks would be over here. So, you know, it's just a weird shift, and you know, their charts on where Teixeira pulls the ball, that's where they stick their guys.
Runner goes. There's a strike. Throw to second. Not in time. Stolen base for Granderson.
Granderson gets a good break. Two-seam fastball. Good pitch to throw on, but Granderson outruns the ball. See Teixeira, you know, as an RBI guy, when you hear he's going, which usually the first baseman screams, you'll take that pitch. And now you've got an opportunity with a man on score on second base to drive in a run with just a single.
2-2. With Suzuki behind the plate, opponents have now been successful 49 of their last 55 stolen base attempts. Mark Teixeira has been successful against Cahill 4 for 8. 2 of them home runs. So 3-2. Runner at second. Off-speed pitch, and Teixeira way out in front, swings and misses. No runs, no hits, no errors, and one man left. We've played 1-0 A's. Everybody on. We go to the top of the second and the bottom third of the order for the A's against Phil Hughes, starting with Connor Jackson, then Kurt Suzuki and Cliff Pennington. There's a strike. The A's are tied with the Mariners, last place in the West. If you're an optimist, you can say they're tied for third. And that's a far cry from what their general manager, Billy Beane, said when the team went to spring training, he said this team is good enough to win. So he put that on them, and that's one of the reasons that Bob Guerin ended up getting fired. And Bob Guerin, a very close friend of Billy Beane. And the problem is the offense. They got guys like Willingham and Matsui to make a difference, and they really haven't. High drive, deep left, going back. Gardner still back, and he's going to play it off the wall. It's a double for Connor Jackson.
See Phil Hughes, just running it, completely missed his target, and he's not overpowering enough at this point to get away with those mistakes, especially with fastball.
Hot night, the ball's going to travel, and it travels right to the base of the wall, but Gardner gets it in. Here's Kurt Suzuki. 1 for his last 8 in the series in Detroit. There's a strike. Phil's using the curveball a lot.
Funny, he seems to have better control with his breaking ball than he does his fastball, which can happen at times. And most of the time, you locate your fastball much better than you do your breaking stuff.
The 0-1. Bunted. Going to move the runner over to third. Hughes will get the out at first. Sacrifice is successful. 1-3. You wonder with this kind of weather how it affects the game. Well, here is the weather impact. If it's 90 and up, the teams combine for 10.5 runs per game. This is over a decade. So you can see the big difference there, Paul.
Yeah, I think it's, obviously the heat, I think, affects the pitcher much more than it does the hitter. I mean, at the plate, could be 1 or 2 pitches where the pitcher is just over and over, especially through the long innings. That's what we need, Michael. See that one of those little
Mister?
A Mr. fan. There we go.
Yankees have the infield in for Pennington, grounded foul.
Has Audrey allowed us to turn the air conditioner on? Are we air conditioned okay tonight? No? Perfect. I think Audrey has a thyroid problem or something. Huh? Last time we were up here was 95 and she had the air turned down.
For those that don't know, Audrey is our stage manager. I assume most of you don't know. That was a line drive to right field. It's a base hit, and that is going to score Connor Jackson. So an RBI single for Pennington, and an A's team, to put it bluntly, that is really, really struggling to score runs. They have 2 against Phil Hughes in less than 2 innings.
Well, Michael, you see the location of the pitches, and again, this ball is supposed to be in, and you see where it ends up, right out over the middle of the plate. These are pitches that hitters that are even struggling are going to hit hard, and they've had a couple opportunities, got a couple big hits. Phil Hughes right now just cannot locate that fastball. Everything's running out over the middle of the plate.
He has always had great success against the A's. In 5 games and 2 starts, he's 2-0 with a 1.62. Last year, he almost pitched a no-hitter in Oakland. And that was in April of last year. Here's Jamal Weeks.
It's funny. I just got to look at him, and he does look like a little brother. I mean, you can tell his brother's older. They go to the same barber. You can tell that, too. They both got the dreads, but
he looks really young.
A lot of baseball in that family. The brother obviously plays for the Milwaukee Brewers.
There's a strike. Switch hitter. He hits better from the left side. Does not have the power of Ricky Weeks. So he's obviously 5 years younger, a little shorter, much lighter. Jamal, the 12th overall pick in 08, and Ricky, the 2nd overall pick in 03. That's got to be very proud moment for family.
Yeah.
2 first-round draft picks. The Uptons had it. Count 0-2. BJ and Justin Upton. Got called up on June 7th. Hits 382 in Oakland, but 224 on the road.
Which is strange because Oakland, when it gets cool there at night, it's not one of the better hitter ballpark. I mean, they have moved the fences in from the old days, but Oakland, to me, with as much foul ground as there is a pitcher's ballpark. I mean, you look at you talked about Billy Beane thought they could compete this year, and you look at their pitching, they have competed pitching wise. They just don't score runs.
Count 1-2 on Weeks.
It's funny, most teams that have had as many struggles as Oakland have, usually they don't have any pitching. And this is kind of the reversal of what you usually see. They have great pitching, they just can't score runs. Usually you can find enough guys out there, even if they're old veteran hitters, that can score some runs for you on a daily basis.
Hot shot, base hit through the right side for Weeks. Pennington will stop at second as Swisher comes up throwing.
Phil Hughes just missed a fastball inside, and he got back to throwing that breaking ball. The man on first, as a left-handed hitter, you get that breaking ball down and in, able to hook it over in the hole. And as young as this team is, you get off to a good start, and it's like everybody seems, we can get this guy, it's a good place to hit. Very important time for Phil Hughes to try to keep them off the board and get into a rhythm where he can throw up a couple of zeros.
Here's Coco Crisp. He walked and scored in the first inning. Now the A's are in a mode right now because the Rangers and the Angels have played so well that they will probably be sellers as the trade deadline approaches, and there are teams sniffing around Coco Crisp and Josh Willingham. And we'll see if Billy Beane trades them. High fly ball, deep left. Going back is Gardner. He'll make the play as the runners retreat. So I played Crisp shallow, but he really backed him up. This is the way the West is right now. Angels took the last two of their series against the Rangers to pull within 3, and the A's and the Mariners are 12.5 back. Here's Josh Willingham.
Willingham's a guy they brought in, has a little pop in his bat. Thought that maybe he could be the guy to, get up to the 25, 30 home runs. Be protected by Matsui, but has not got to that point yet.
One thing he's done well is he hits with runners in scoring position. 321. That's what he's done the last 5 seasons. Spending it with Washington and Florida. The A's have tried over the last couple of years to get players to take their money, and they're not taking it. Hitters don't really want to play in that ballpark. Adrian Beltre was given a big contract offer and really didn't even consider it. Ended up signing with Texas.
Michael, you talk, that ballpark is kind of out in the middle of nowhere. You don't get a good feel of baseball there, and they're trying their darndest to get that team to San Jose, build a new ballpark. Could be a gold mine here in the future.
Count 3-0, and Hughes is really laboring, and he's thrown a lot of pitches on a very hot night. 43 pitches, not even 2 innings. Larry Rothschild obviously concerned. There's a strike. You can see how Hughes is perspiring. The top of the bill of his cap is all wet already, seeping through.
Everybody wants to know about Phil Hughes' velocity. How's he throwing the ball coming back? It hasn't really been velocity. He's about where he was in his last start. It's just the location of his fastball.
But the interesting thing is the velocity, no matter how it's portrayed, is not what it was last year. And if you have a little higher velocity and the location's not there, you can get away with it.
Get away with some pitches every once in a while. And he was kind of that guy that, especially the year before out of the pen, that he had that sneaky fastball that was 93, 94, that people swung through it like he was 97.
Runners will go 3-2, 2 outs. They missed, and another walk. Third walk issued by Hughes, and the bases are loaded. New York Yankees baseball is broadcast in Spanish. It's available by hitting the SAP button on your television. SAP is brought to you by Toyota. Toyota offers fuel efficiency you'll love, only better. So this is not the type of night that the Yankees envision for Phil Hughes going up against an offensively anemic team, and he has struggled so far. He's trailing 2-0, and he's trying to keep it right here. Well, now's your chance to take on Russ, brought to you by Toyota. Which of the following, who wore both an Oakland A's and New York Yankees uniform, had the most colorful personality? Here are your choices. Was it A, Jason Giambi, B, Ricky Henderson, C, Reggie Jackson, D, Billy Martin, or E, Nick Swisher? All good choices. Text A, B, C, D, or E to 70377 or go to my9tv.com. Find out the results right after the game. It's Take on Russ, brought to you by Toyota. Here's Matsui, and he swings at the first pitch and grounds it to Cano. And Hughes works out of further trouble. 1 run, 3 hits, and the bases are left loaded. 2-0 A's. We go to the bottom of the second. Seattle Mariners. Coverage will start at 7 p.m. as the Mariners will try to climb out of the American League West cellar. They've got a date with the Bombers in the Bronx. Yankees and the Mariners, Tuesday at 7 p.m. right here on My 9.
Talk about another team that just, has a couple great pitchers, but going through horrible times.
They can't hit. The HP scoreboard 2-0.
Simple as that.
That's it. If you can't hit, it's hard to win.
It's funny. It doesn't matter what league you're in. Little league, you can't hit, you can't win. Doesn't matter.
Here's Robinson Cano. 9 for 33 on the Yankees road trip. They were 4 and 4 on the 8-game trip. Pitch outside. They played all 8 games on artificial turf. The only 2 remaining ballparks with artificial turf in the bigs. Toronto and Tampa Bay, the 1-0. Outside 2-0. Yankees have won 10 straight games against the A's. They've actually won 24 out of their last 28 games they've played the A's. Count 3-0. Yankees have a 10-game homestand starting tonight, and it's against teams that they should want to make some hay against. 3 against the A's, 3 against the Mariners, and 4 against the Baltimore Orioles. There's a strike.
Cahill, he's not going to light up the radar gun. 84 right there, but he has good movement, knows how to move the ball in and out. It's his fastball at 84. That's not an off-speed pitch.
The 3-1. Fouled away. Cano has hit Cahill 4 for 9 with a home run. Speaking of home runs, Robinson won the home run derby at the All-Star festivities. Only the second baseman to ever, only the second baseman to ever do that.
You know, I was
You know
going
who
to
the
bring
other
that
guy
up.
is?
The other second baseman that ever do
Win the
Brian
home run?
Sandberg.
Yes.
Is that right?
Wow.
Just out of nowhere, too. Huh?
3-2. Line drive, base hit. And that one will get past De Jesus. Going for second is Cano. The throw is not handled by Pennington. That's probably going to be a single and an E9. Was hit so hard it ate up De Jesus.
Yeah, every once in a while. And you see this as an infielder. You're right. The ball was, I mean, just a beautiful swing. Stays on top of it. It's out of the box quick enough, but you get caught on an in-between hop, and you see him heading backwards. But as an outfielder, you don't want to do very often. Uh-oh. Didn't even draw 11. It happens.
That's a single and an E9. Now, I told you all the other things about the A's, except for the fact that they pitch. They don't score. They also don't field very well. That's their 78th error. Worst in the American League and second worst in baseball to the Cubs. That's a bad combination.
Yeah, you're not scoring runs. You can't give up extra outs and or extra bases in this case, where Robbie ends up on second instead of first.
Here's Nick Swisher, former A. Pitches high. Nick went from the A's to the White Sox to the Yankees. Inside. This team can pitch. They're first in ERA in the American League. Fourth in batting average against. Fourth in whip, which is walks and hits combined per innings pitched. Do they turn Swisher loose on 3-0?
Well, I think that a lot of times, Joe, especially with veteran hitters, will leave it up to them. You know, a lot of guys don't like, we've talked about it before, don't like to hit 3-0. But with a sinker ball pitcher, a guy that doesn't get the ball, you know, up very much, you're very surprised.
That's right. Nick on the road trip was 9 for 31. He's hitting .253. That's one guy that the heat I don't think will affect that much, because Joe has bragged to me several times he does not sweat.
Is that right?
Yeah, he doesn't sweat. 3-1. Although they say sweating is healthy if it's hot.
Is that normal? I mean, you got to sweat at times, right? What's he, pant?
He's your
Dogs
buddy.
don't
I
sweat
don't know. When he used to be up here in front of the hot lights, you know, you get all sweaty. He doesn't. He didn't.
I get a little hot and bothered.
So the Yankees with runners on first and second for Jorge Posada. Jorge playing first base today.
Remember that homestand that we did together last time we were together, Michael, here, where Jorge really got off to probably the best he hit the ball all year. That little stretch when he was playing first base, where he was out on the field. Obviously, Teixeira really wanted to get in the DH spot tonight, getting in late last night, but it gives Georgie an opportunity to get involved in the game, get out on the field, what he's used to doing.
Well, he owned June. July he has struggled. 146 is averaged down to 224. Count 1-1.
Off-speed pitch, and you see Cahill really change his speed. You know, that's his changeup, but he'll also change speeds within his fastball. We've seen 84, 88. Same kind of movement, though, just a sinking changeup there.
That one is driven deep to left center field. Coco Crisp on his way back, and he's on the track to make the play. Swisher was all the way past second, retraces his steps, heads back to first, and a long out off the bat of Posada.
See energy. I mean, he's used to coming through in situations like this his whole career. This year it's just been tough, but a pretty good swing, ball tailing away, just didn't quite get enough. Coco Crisp, one thing he can do is run it down in the outfield. Every once in a while, you see Robbie going the wrong way. Once you see Crisp get a beat on that ball, you still have time if you're 10, 15 feet off the base to get back and tag up. It's like Robbie got caught going to third base too far where he couldn't get back. Give himself an opportunity. A lot of times, even if you get back late, you see right there, he starts right there. You can stop, but you're going to score if it falls. And right there, you still have time if you stay there to get back and possibly tag up. See what kind of position Crisp is in when he catches the ball, if he's in a throwing position.
And that's an important non-tag because you go to third with one out. There's several ways you could score. Count 0-1 on Nunez. Nice block by Suzuki. Nunez this year with runners in scoring position in 317, 13 for 41. Outside. Cervelli is on deck. Two-one. Grounded right side. It's going to sneak through for a base hit. They're going to wave home Cano. He will score. It's an RBI single for Nunez. Yankees on the board. A's 2, Yankees 1.
Said it, Michael. I mean, this ball got in on him a little bit, jammed him, but he hit it in the right spot. DeJesus does a good job here. As a right fielder, when a ball just gets through, you know you're going to have no chance at the plate. Try to throw behind that runner, see if you can get him round in second base. Looked like he was trying to go the other way the whole time.
Couldn't roll it any better right there. So the Yankees are on the board, and that'll bring up Cervelli for Nunez, his 20th RBI of the year.
This is what becomes very tough. I mean, we've gone over the same point over and over about Oakland not being able to score runs. But if you're a pitcher and you get a couple run lead, you know that you have to try to hold it. And you start putting so much pressure on every pitch trying to hold that lead because you know you're probably not going to get too many more.
Ron Romanek is the pitching coach. Now 1-1.
This is a stat, Michael, that tells you how much catching Russell Martin does. Cervelli has not had a hit this month.
Only 8 at bats.
Yeah, 0 for 8.
Yeah, Martin likes to catch every day. 1-1. Count 2-1.
You see Cervelli's back. You know when it's hot. You see the back of his jersey has a little brown stripe down in it, and that's that pine tar. It gets so gummy and so sticky when it gets that hot that it comes right off the bat.
Line drive, right field. It's a base hit. Swisher will stop at third, and the Yankees have the bases loaded.
If you're Cahill, you got to think nothing hurt here, though. You still have a double play. DeJesus gets the ball in quick. Good piece of hitting by Cervelli. You see him looking over his shoulder whether that ball is going to score anybody. Stays with it. Gets in on his label a little bit, but again, to hit with runners in scoring position, you take the home run out of your mind and just try to slap the ball somewhere, keep it going.
That brings a trip to the mound by Romanek. Take the Yankees with you when you travel out of the Yankees home territory. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see Yankees games live or on demand on your computer and your favorite devices. Visit Yankees.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv. Baseball everywhere. Paul, was it ever so hot when you played that you actually were affected adversely? I mean, you played on artificial turf at Riverfront.
Yeah, I mean, it did get bad, but I still think it's harder for a pitcher. I think as a player, you're in off the field enough to cool off. And I mean, believe me, I'd rather play in a 100-degree day than I would 35 in April. So you can complain about the heat as much as guys do in April when it's 30.
You know, Paul, that Joe Girardi actually said that he had teammates, and when they played on artificial turf, that they would soak their spikes in water because it'd be 120, 130 degrees.
We actually had these little ice buckets because, believe it, the old turf in Riverfront Stadium, which was in Cincinnati, your feet felt like they were on fire. They would burn you, and you would sit between innings and try to cool them off a little bit.
The 0-1. Count 1-1.
What was it? Last time I was in town, Yogi was telling me that they used to put cabbage leaves in their hats. That was supposed to keep you cool.
Tony Pena said that he used to do that as well. Just they would wet the cabbage leaf and put it under their cap.
That's old school. Tony must be old remembering the cabbage leaves.
1-1. It'd be tough to turn two on Gardner. They don't turn one, and a run scores. Game is tied at 2. The first baseman strayed far to the right. Weeks had nobody to throw it to. He had to wait for Cahill, and Cahill just couldn't beat Gardner to the bag.
Yeah, I think Jackson here just got too far off the base. This is a play Weeks makes pretty easily. And if Jackson's on first base, obviously he's out. Not sure that he's not out anyway. Yeah, he is out.
He's out. Bill Welke, the first base umpire, missed that. So the bases remain loaded.
It's a dangerous play for a pitcher. You get over there, go in there, catch a spike or something. But tough breaks for Cahill. He would have had an out there, although he did give up the tying run. He would have had an out, an opportunity to get out of this inning.
Here's Jeter. And a strike. Jeter grounded to second in the first inning. Gazer at double play depth. Nunez at third. Cervelli is at second. Gardner is at first. Hot shot off the glove of the diving Jackson, and it trickles into right field. Nunez scores. Cervelli scores. Stopping at third is Gardner. It's a 2-run single for Jeter, and the Yankees lead 4-2. Hit number 3011 for Derek Jeter, and that breaks the tie with Wade Boggs for 25th place on baseball's all-time hit list.
Jackson off the base a long way. Derek Jeter slaps one in between him and the base. And, you know, if you're Cahill, you got to think, I'm making decent pitches. Nothing's going at anybody.
Next up on the list for Derek is Rafael Palmeiro with 3,020 hits. And Trevor Cahill struggles against the Yankees continue. Coming in 3 games, 0-3, close to a 10 ERA. And you would assume he knows those numbers, because I gave you the quote that he had earlier, that he said, I feel like that's the only team that I never really had a decent start against. Well, he knows that, and now it might spiral. Fake to third, fake to first. Jeter goes. There'll be no throw. Stolen base standing up. They didn't want to risk throwing through and having Gardner dart for home. Still 1 out.
See Jeter here, and you're probably better off sliding. And I know he didn't think about it, because if you've got a kind of a re-injured calf, or your feet get all beat up by those spikes catching.
With the infield in, he lost a fly ball to left. Matsui settles underneath, makes the catch. Here's Gardner. Here's the throw. Not in time to have Jeter hung up. Suzuki will run right at Jeter. And now the rundown begins. And Jeter is tagged out, but the Yankees score the 5th run. The bats come alive here in the 2nd against Cahill. Nunez squeaks one through the right side. Gardner an infield hit. And then Jeter, a 2-run single off the first baseman's glove. It all adds up to the Yankees 5 and the A's 2. The out-of-town scoreboard, which is brought to you by JCPenney. We make style affordable. You make it yours. Hot all over the country, so most teams dealing with this heat wave. Here's Scott Sizemore. RBI double in the 1st inning.
Phil Hughes got a long rest there, and he also got back into the game where now he has a lead. It's really an important inning for him to go out there, try to get them back in.
And Scott Sizemore grounds out to Jeter. 1 away. So Hughes kind of getting a second chance here. Really struggled in the first 2 innings. The Yankee offense puts up 5 against a guy who came in with a 3.15 ERA. There's David DeJesus, born in Brooklyn. Most of his youth, though, was in Manalapan, New Jersey.
It's funny, you play here, you learn certain areas. You play in Shea Stadium, you learn the Queens, you learn Manhattan. I know nothing about Brooklyn other than the stories. You know about Brooklyn, man?
I have not been to Brooklyn that much.
Yeah.
Popped up. I have been to Peter Luger's, which is a place you'd love, a legendary steakhouse.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, you would love it.
Brooklyn Bridge.
Right by the Brooklyn Bridge, yep. Well, that's actually by the Williamsburg Bridge, but you've heard of the Brooklyn Bridge is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you've done your homework on that borough.
No. Come on, man. It took 3 innings. Now you're throwing out fight words. Now we got to hook it out the rest of the night,
Here's Connor Jackson. There's a strike.
No, there's a Coney Island in Brooklyn.
Yes, there is.
But there's a Coney Island in Cincinnati, too.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. So which one's first? Come on, boys. Go to work.
The 0-1. Hot shot foul. Well, what is a Coney Island in Cincinnati?
It's down on the river. It's like an amusement park.
That's what this Coney Island is.
Yeah.
But this one has the hot dog eating contest. This Coney Island.
Man.
You don't have that in Cincinnati.
You been in that thing before?
Nathan's is obviously, was it from Coney Island? That one's chopped over the middle. Grabbed by Cano. Throws across the body. Beautiful play by Cano to get Jackson. So Phil Hughes comes back with a 1-2 inning. That's what O'Neill said they needed. Gets the Yankees back in the dugout and the A's back on the field. 5-2 Bombers. Good play by Cano. Donuts to get dunked. Go to www.getdunked.com. That's GETDUNKD.com. Here's Mark Teixeira. Gene Monahan tending to his players and the camera. Yeah.
We need some of Gene Monahan's. He talked about it, the ammonia water. Oh, it's awesome.
Awesome. Does it smell like smelling salts?
No, it smells good, but when you're hot and it's got ice all over it, it's awesome. Only Gino can do that. He's got a special recipe.
He would come up here for
it's got to be a certain amount of ammonia and water. If you do the wrong mix, you might, sizzle an ear off or something.
1-1. Hey, I know it was the last play and we didn't have a chance, and there it is. That's what he's doing right there. What a play by Cano.
I was going to say, I don't know if any other second baseman makes that play because of the arm strength it takes when you're running completely to left field to be able to throw across your body and still throw a strike. I mean, it takes a tremendous amount of arm strength, and the way he can throw that ball sidearm to make that play.
When you get the sense, Paul, that he's got a shortstop's arm.
Oh, no doubt. And he's got that quick release, too.
Doesn't even have to set. That's all arm.
Yeah, and he makes it look easy. So if you're watching it on TV, you think, man, it's a pretty decent play. That is an extremely hard play because not too many people are gifted with the arm to be going away from the play and still throw a good throw.
And here he is. He singles to right field to start the Yankees' 5-run second inning.
Michael, you brought up the home run derby, and we haven't talked in a while, and it's been a while, and I'm sure it's been talked about, but what a neat thing. I don't really watch that a lot, but for some reason I was watching a little bit of that night, and
that one is drilled to center. Chris back, still back. It's going to be over his head and up against the wall. Teixeira will go to third, and Cano is at second with a double.
I mean, that's just an absolute bullet. That's a line drive that beat one of the fastest guys in the league to the wall. I mean, the ball is just hammered right on the nose. Supposed to be a sinker, didn't get much action. But Robbie, when he gets in streaks like this where he stays through the ball, you see his bat just continues. I didn't mean to write on your face there, Coco. It just continues through the zone. Just an absolute missile. That happens is so quick. As an outfielder, you know when the ball's hit, you can usually, beat the ball to a spot. Not there. But back to my point, it was such a neat thing to watch his dad throw batting practice or throw that in the home run derby. And I was just hoping that he would get back to hitting like he is tonight and not get caught up that, now I'm a home run hitter and Robbie can hit.
Here's Nick Swisher with the infield in. That one is grounded foul. Here is a look at that home run derby that Paul saw about. He was hitting bombs, like 500 feet drives.
It's funny because sometimes you'll watch guys hitting ballparks that you've never hit in. I remember taking batting practice there before the 2001 World Series. I mean, where he's hitting those balls, it's just, you didn't see balls fly that far. And it didn't look like he was, what a great shot.
His dad pitched for the Astros 9 games in his career. And has produced an all-star, probably Hall of Fame second baseman.
He's as good as he wants to be. He has that much talent at the plate and defensively.
And that's how the home run derby broke down between Cano and Adrian Gonzalez. And Cano really had to put up a big number in that last go-round because Gonzalez put up 11. So Cano, that was a record-breaking final round number. The 2-1. Count 3-1.
Talking about Robbie, and we saw it last year when he was really hitting the ball well, that they were pitching around him to get to other Hall of Famers, and it just goes to show you that he really does not have a specific way to pitch him. When he's swinging the bat well, I just hope he hits at somebody.
Marty Foster calls that a strike. Count 3-2. First base open, nobody out. 2nd and 3rd. Infield essentially is in. They're kind of halfway at short and second. That's a dangerous call for Bob Melvin. Ground ball squeezes through. It's 2 runs. That's going to be hit deep to center field. Chris back on the track at the wall. Leaps. See ya. A 3-run home run for Nick Swisher. And the Yankees lead 8-2.
It's funny you talk about the heat at this, right? His reaction is like, I hit a good sacrifice fly. Put his head down, thought he got the guy in. All of a sudden, wow, it's 100 degrees and that baseball wants to get out of here where it's cool. Coco Chris makes a great effort.
That was some try. He timed that beautifully. Got right to the ledge. But to no avail. So a 3-run home run for Swisher is 11th. And Posada fouls it off.
Every once in a while you see a hitter just get caught in the middle of just, what kind of swing was that? And then Jorge Posada, Nick Swisher telling you that he got that one, a little breaking ball. That last swing, it's just like, what did you just do? And as a hitter, you have to step back and remember, you've got an at-bat ahead of you. And then just drive on the left field.
Posada with a single. And Cahill again struggling against the Yankees big time. 0-3, 9.72 coming in. And this is a top quality pitcher who just can't deal with the Yankee lineup.
Yeah, it just looks like he does not have enough on his fastball. And you talk about a major adjustment. Look at the first pitch here. This is Jorge when he's kind of caught in between. Oh, that's swing one. Now step back, get out of it. Remember, you're still at bat. Get a good pitch away and just line it to left field.
So a quick trip to the mound as Michael Wirtz begins the throw.
And back to Cahill. Unless you throw hard, you have it. It's like he has good everything. He's got good movement. He's got good fastball. He's got a good curve, but he doesn't have anything great. And that's where it seems to get him in trouble against the New York Yankees.
Here's Eduardo Nunez. Well, Paul mentioned this earlier, and you wonder, has the league caught up with him, or has he just had a bad stretch? in his first 44 starts, an outstanding 28-9. But since May 15th of this year, he's 2-8. And that looks like it's going to get worse as Nunez singles through the left side for his second hit of the night. 5 base runners on in a row here in the third inning. That's all for Bob Melvin. He's seen enough. Cahill, in his first start at Yankee Stadium last year in August, 8 earned runs in 4 innings. This one not nearly as good. This is 8 earned runs, 2 runners on, nobody out. He's pitched 2 innings plus. A rough outing for Cahill. Yankees lead 8-2. Batting practice today and the Tri-State Ford pregame. Then on Sunday, complete coverage of the series finale starts at 12:30 only on Yes. Well, Bob Melvin makes the call to the bullpen, and it is brought to you by Verizon Fios. Switch to Fios and network ahead. To learn more, visit verizon.com/getFios. So a rough Friday evening in New York City for Trevor Cahill. He has not pitched up to his potential against the Yankees. Came in with a 3.16 ERA, and that ERA is going way up. Michael Wirtz takes over. 30 games for him, 2.96 ERA. Walks too many, but he strikes out 25 and 27 in the third innings.
Again, starting pitching, bullpen, I mean, their whole pitching staff, for the most part, has done well.
First and second, nobody out. Yankees up 8-2, bottom of the third. Still, the A's looking to pick up their first out of this inning. Here's Cervelli. Pitch outside.
Michael, I'm kind of sad to tell you that you got us beat.
Okay.
57 years you got us beat.
Cincinnati.
So? Coney Island, Brooklyn Hotel opened in 1829.
Right.
Coney Island and Cincinnati, Ohio opened in 1886. Both of them pretty old.
But Cincinnati obviously copied New York.
Yeah, 57 years. It took us 57 years to copy it, too. It's not like it was a couple months.
Well, that was before the internet, so it didn't get there that fast. Cervelli with a single in the second inning. 6 for 17 lifetime against the A's. Count 3-0 for Wirtz.
Tough time of the year for Bob Melvin. I mean, you went into the All-Star break, they had a terrible streak. Then all of a sudden, after the break, they had a good series. Now you come into New York, you go to Tampa. I mean, you're going to face some tough teams being away from home.
Bob Melvin was one of the finalists for the Met job that went to Terry Collins. He had worked as a scout in the Met organization. And then when Bob Guerin was let go, they hired Melvin. Popped up, shallow center, long run for Crisp. It's going to dunk in for a base hit, and the Yankees have the bases loaded. That's good base running by Nunez.
And Nunez gets a good read, and you almost have to watch the outfielder's feet, whether he's going to leave him and try to make a catch, or you start stutter stepping, you know he's going to let it drop. You see Jorge a little later, but Nunez did a good job. You see those stutter steps, you know he's not going to leave his feet there.
Six up for the Yankees, 6 runners on. Now the bases loaded for Brett Gardner. Gardner with an infield RBI single and scored a run in the second. He's 1 for 2. So that single in the second extended his hitting streak to 10 straight. Foul ball. How's this for a number? Yankees 6 for 8 tonight with runners in scoring position.
Usually means you're up 8-2 or something. Huh?
Now these are the numbers updated for Trevor Cahill. He still has 2 runners on base that are his responsibility. He is not going to take part in that next I Love New York campaign. The 0-1.
See that look, and I've had that look before from the other side. As a hitter, you're just stunned. You just don't understand, what is going on. You're so. We talked about it. He won 18 games last year. I mean, he's had success in the major leagues, and you just sit there and wonder, what has just happened. Kind of like an 0 for 15 stint as a hitter. You just sit over there and you just wonder if you're ever going to get a hit again. You ever sit up here and just wonder if you're ever going to say the right thing? What's going to come out?
Constantly.
Is that it?
Constantly.
Rings in your head?
The 0-2. Swing and a miss.
Good off-speed pitch there.
So finally, a Yankee retired.
Edwards throws a change up there. Brett Gardner doesn't mind hitting with 2 strikes, but for the first time he's seen that off-speed pitch from Wirtz.
Hey, there's Christian Lopez. Got those tickets when he caught Derek Jeter's 3,000th hit, the home run to left. And he's making use of them. And here's Garrett.
A story to tell everybody for many years to come. Did the right thing, though, don't you think? Don't tell me you would have wanted money. Is that what you're telling me?
No, I would not have wanted money, but I certainly can't sit here and criticize somebody that would want money, because I mean that's like hitting the lottery. You're sitting in the stands and the ball's in your hands and it's worth $250,000 maybe. I mean, he did the honorable thing. I got to give him that. But people have come down on the other side. I would never criticize him. I think it's great that he did. He did the right thing. That got a piece of Suzuki. And I told the story earlier about Matsui's 500th. Yeah. I don't blame that guy for saying I don't want to give it up. Suzuki in a lot of pain.
Well, you never know what to say when a catcher gets hit like this, because it's just, I mean, it's how else can you explain it?
It's indescribable.
Yeah, it hurts. And as a hitter, you look back and you almost feel bad, but it's like, what control did I have of it other than hitting the foul ball? Bob Melvin, the next catcher, knows all about it.
It's amazing with catchers. You have so much of the body protected. Joe Girardi knows what he's feeling as well, but it's impossible to cover every single spot of your body. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees.
Cervelli had the little faux hawk working right out of the helmet there. Does that work?
Works for him.
I think Gene said, where'd that get you at? Come on, Gene. Do you have to ask that question?
sure Suzuki's not in the mood to joke around about that. Bases loaded. 1-1. Good off-speed pitch by Wertz in the count 1-2. Yankees up 8-2, bottom of the third. Oh, what a play by Suzuki. Wow. Scooped that like a first baseman, but without a first baseman's mitt.
I'll tell you what, that ball hit the other batter's box. For the reaction to even get leather on that, that's impressive. That's behind a left-handed hitter right there.
Now you look at Rob Thompson, the third base coach, in 100-degree heat, and you go, why is he wearing long sleeves? And I have an answer for you. There is a legitimate reason. Well, let's see Derek with the 3-2 pitch. And that'll force in a run as the Yankees lead 9-2. Third RBI of the night for Derek Jeter. He has 28 on the season. And that forces in his buddy Posada. And the Yankees continue to tack on runs against the A's. That one is also charged to Trevor Cahill. Well, here's the reason. Can you come up with a reason, you think, why he's wearing long sleeves on a 100?
Well, no, he's not an ex-pitcher. Pitchers like to keep their arms warm, but no.
It's a really good reason. He said, I've got to wear dark sleeves so my signs can be seen when I put my fingers on my arm. Here's Granderson. He said, when I was in the minor leagues, guys wouldn't see my signs, and I'd say, well, what's going on? They go, we can't see it against your skin, so your fingers are the same color of your skin. So he wants to have the contrast of the dark sleeve.
Thanks for a good story.
The 1-0. I mean, there has to be a good story to wear long sleeves on a day like this. Not giving any signs here. 2-0, bases loaded.
Signs are over with at this point.
He could roll up those sleeves. Granderson has not come to bat officially. He's been hit by a pitch and had a sac fly. The 2-0. Wow. 3-0.
I'll tell you what, Suzuki felt like he's played a game in this last inning. He's getting woozy back there. Did you see him rocking?
How could you not? He's had a lot go wrong tonight. This inning. 3-0. 9-2 Yankees. Bottom of the third. And another bases loaded walk, forcing in another run. So Nunez scores. Yankees lead 10-2, and now the line on Cahill is complete. 2 innings, 10 runs. And another ribby for Granderson, his second of the night. Dumb question of the night here, Paul. Does a team ever start to feel sorry for the other team?
No, because as a hitter, I mean, you go up there every time and you're trying to get a hit. What you do start thinking about is, I hope this game might, progress a little quicker. We do have a day game tomorrow. But again, as a hitter, when you walk up to the plate every single time, you better want to get a hit, because you don't know when it's going to change, and one of those 0 for 15s right around the corner.
This inning, 8 of 9 batters have reached base safely. Only Gardner has been retired. And it started with Teixeira's walk. And that one is drilled deep to right field. Does it have the height? See ya! A grand slam for Teixeira. And the Yankees are pounding the A's. They lead 14-2.
Teixeira got a changeup, and every once in a while, when you're fooled as a hitter just enough, or as a fastball, it allows you to hook that ball down the line. Absolute bullet into the right field stand.
26th home run for Teixeira, now has 71 ribbies, and the Yankees like it. Nick Swisher giving black and blues. So the Yankees kind of like the Heat, I guess. 14-2. Here's Cano.
Wertz has gotten to the point where his fastball got hit out of the ballpark. He can't throw his changeup for a strike. Now he went to a breaking ball, kind of like a little cutter slider. He can't get that in on Robbie, so kind of scratching his head out there on how to get it out.
So Mark Teixeira just snapped a string of 70 at-bats without a home run.
Way to do it with a grand slam.
So now 3-0 on Cano. He's 2 for 2. 2 runs scored. There's a strike.
Now that's the one time, Michael, it's really weird. You know how there's a no-run rule, you know, when you're up 5 or 6 runs, you don't steal bases anymore.
Right.
When you're up, 12 runs like we see here, 3-0, that's another kind of unwritten rule. You don't swing.
High fly ball. Chris doesn't see it. Matsui does, and he makes the play. Chris had no idea where that was, as Pennington was pointing to Matsui. It's still not quite nighttime yet, and you could see Chris was lost. Is that a scary feeling, Paul, thinking you're going to get one in the face?
No, you don't think about getting hit. You just think about it. It's embarrassing because you're supposed to make the play, and there's nothing you can do. And there's a clock going on in your head, and if you don't find it quick, you know what? I don't think I've ever seen that. Look at that. I've seen some tattoos, but that's like a 3-dimensional tattoo. He's got a little marble in the middle of it. Huh? You ever seen that?
No.
Look at that.
I think it's an earring.
Yeah,
in the
but
middle
there's
of
a tattoo around it. We're going to get a side view before the game's over. See, we learn stuff up here, Michael. We're going to.
Nick Swisher now 2 for 2 this inning. Follows his 3-run home run with a single. Wow, it's an earring in a tattoo.
3-dimensional.
It almost looks like a bullseye.
You got a shot with a BB on the way to the ballpark.
Oh my goodness!
You get one of those tomorrow, Mike.
I'll pay for you to get it.
Wow, no.
We'll have to talk to Coco. Here's Posada. Hey, do you get worried when you go and ask for that? Yeah, and also put a metal bolt in there.
Tighten her up in case I got to steal a base. It can't be dangling. It's got to be tightened there.
Wow. They say you'll see something you've never seen in every game. Well, we just did. Count 1-2. Posada singled earlier in the inning. He's 1 for 2. Trevor Cahill's hanging in there, watching it right till the final out of this inning. The 1-2. Slice foul. And that's kind of a written rule, an unwritten rule for pitchers. You get taken out of the game, you have to stay there until the end of that inning. And I don't think in Cahill's worst nightmare he thought he'd still be sitting there. Faustino de los Santos is up in the bullpen.
I think I noticed you got a little Spanish accent when you said his name. You learned that over the break, huh?
8 years of Spanish.
Is that right?
Between high school and Fordham.
Yeah.
Still can't even.
Can you order in Spanish? You can't even get a burrito.
I can tell you, me llamo es Miguel. That's it.
That's it?
That's about all I got. The 2-2. Well, you got to give Marty Foster credit. He's still calling strikes. And anything off the plate, he's calling it a ball. And the home plate umpire never gets to go into the tunnel and cool off. And he's out there the entire game for however long it takes. All the umpires are. And both trainers keep an eye on them. Runner goes, 3-2. Swung on and missed, and the inning is finally over. But the Yankee bats have come alive after struggling in Tampa Bay. Not tonight. A 3-run home run for Nick Swisher as the Yankees put a lot on the board. Wow. A grand slam for Teixeira. It's 14-2 Yanks. Is one of 5 World Series MVPs who switched teams in the subsequent offseason. I want to know who were the other 4, Paul.
Ooh.
Didn't sound like you know. We'll find out.
Yeah, they didn't jump right to my mind.
Here's Kurt Suzuki. Now Phil Hughes has been sitting on the bench a while, but he'll take a 12-run lead. He's got to get 6 more outs to get a win. But they'd like to stretch him out as well.
Yeah, you'd love to see him find command of his fastball and just be able to pound the fastball. The hits that he gave up in the first couple innings were all fastballs that he missed on location. Now's the time that you can really rear back, work on that fastball, work on your location. Don't have to worry about the score at this point.
And Suzuki gets plunked.
I tell you what, this is just a bad night for Suzuki. He just.
He's gotten hit high, got hit low. Larry Rothschild does not like what he sees because, hey, the Yankees are in good shape. The A's don't score a lot of runs, but they need Phil Hughes to be what Phil Hughes was in the first half last year. They need him to straighten it out. And that takes some of the pressure off Yankee GM Brian Cashman about having to go out and get a pitcher. If Phil Hughes could be that guy. And the pitch to Pennington is a strike. And people forget, Phil Hughes was an All-Star last year. He went to the All-Star game.
18 wins last year. I mean, it started off with 10 or 11-0.
It was a breaking ball strike. It seems like he has best command of that tonight.
Hughes usually has that good straight fastball when he has his good control to pinpoint it, and then he could throw his cutter in on lefties. Seems like he's got a tail on that fastball that I'm not used to seeing.
And the 1-2. Right in on the hand, still 1-2.
And that's the pitch that he really needs, and that's the pitch that he needs to work on, it is getting that ball in on lefties and in on righties without the movement, just to be able to pinpoint that fastball on the inside corner.
One, two. Foul back. So the A's had to feel pretty good about things. They're up 2-0. They have a pitcher with a 3.16 ERA on the mound, but it all fell apart. Yankees score 5 in the second and 9 in the third. Pennington stays alive.
An A's fan growing up, Michael, in the mid-'70s, or were you always just Yankees? You hated the A's?
Born in the Bronx, Paul.
But I tell you, they had the coolest uniforms.
Yankees have the coolest uniforms.
Well, they do now because of the traditions and everything that's happened. But
that one is drilled deep to right field. Did he get it high enough? Yes, he did. Just sneaks into the stands for a home run. A 2-run shot into the short porch, and it's now 14-4.
I'll tell you, Michael, we showed the graphic early about when it's plus 90, how many runs? Well, when it's plus 100, it's even more. I mean, the balls are flying out of here. The hitters are locked in. Phil Hughes again. That ball just kind of sits there, just doesn't have the velocity to get it in, and right in your living room.
Here's Jamal Weeks. And there's a strike. Well, back when I was growing up, the A's had a fun team.
Yeah, they did. And what I was thinking is it was like 10, 12, how old you were. That it's right when, like, I remember getting our first color TV, and on TV they had the coolest uniforms. So you had to kind of root for them. It's back when they had the real gold. They had all kind of mix-or-match uniforms.
Charles O'Finley was the owner then and came up with those uniforms. They all wore white spikes.
Yeah.
They had Reggie there and Joe Rudy and Sal Bando.
You know, they have
Gene
traditionally,
Tennis.
they have some big names that played out there and some great teams. They won 3 consecutive World Series in the 70s. Blue Moon Odom, Vida Blue.
Catfish Hunter.
Catfish. I saw a stat today. Catfish had a couple years where he threw over 300 innings. Fair ball down the line.
And it gets past Gardner, and Weeks is off to the races. And that'll be his 4th triple of the year. And that leads all rookies.
You think that's a triple, or is that a double and an air? I'm going to wait and see, huh?
Let's see. I mean, if it just got past him, I think that's a triple.
You know, it's funny because as a fielder, you go to try to catch it, but you also kind of lodge your foot against it to try to, if you miss it, it'll hit your foot, and it looked like it bounced right over his foot, too.
Now, Curtis Granderson is screaming for time in center field. He's pointing toward left field. I'm not sure what he's saying.
So you try to plant your foot there, too, and it looked like it got over that, too.
That's going to be a double and an E7, so you surmised correctly. Looks like Granderson's okay now, ready to roll. And a check swing by Crisp. Vic Carapazza says he did not go. One thing I always remember about the A's, Paul, growing up, and I just started getting into baseball, and Vida Blue had that unbelievable season. And, you know, back in those days, the old Yankee Stadium, they didn't get big crowds. And Vida Blue came to pitch, and that place was jammed. That one is lined in the right field. It's a base hit. That'll score Weeks. And the Yankees now lead 14-5. The last thing Phil Hughes wants to do is get taken out of a game and not get credit for the victory here. But it's 14-5, and Larry Rothschild's only going to go so far, and he calls to the bullpen. Get somebody up.
Yeah, Joe's got to be somewhat concerned. Obviously, you're still comfortable with the lead you have. You still think that your offense is probably going to put some more runs up, but the Phil Hughes factor is what you're looking into. And again, Michael, you've kind of talked about it. You want him to become what he was. I mean, you sent a pretty good pitcher out of here when to replace Nova. I mean, he was throwing very well.
Here's Josh Willingham. Yankees up 14-5, top of the fourth. Fouled away and out of play. And they get Ayala up.
It's funny. You look back at it. It seems like he's throwing more fastballs, and in the old days, it just seems like he got those fastballs by people, and they foul them off, and it just looks like guys are putting the bat on the ball. And I really don't think it might be a little of the velocity, but it's more the location than anything.
Well, it's strange because at the beginning of the year, when he wasn't throwing that hard, he was saying that the ball was not coming out of his hand well. Well, now, you look at the numbers, they're not that much higher than they were. He's at about 91, but he says the ball's coming out of his hand better. And he's not concerned about velocity, and the Yankees say they're not. That was 91 miles an hour right there. You know, at the beginning of the season, he was at 88, 89. But last year at times, he was at 94 a lot.
Yeah, and that 94 was getting by people. It was kind of sneaking. And jokingly, I told you, that's kind of a, we were talking about it before the game, kind of a new term. You know, coming out of your hand. Well, if you're throwing 95, you throw 95. I don't care how it comes out of your hand. It's kind of a strange way to look at it, but I can't imagine what Melvin's talking about here.
Really don't know what this is about. Jeff Nelson, the crew chief, comes in to listen in as well.
You know what he's doing out here, Michael? He's wondering if New York's got the 10-run rule in effect when it's 100 degrees or more.
I have no idea what that was about.
You're confused?
I'm totally confused. And it's not the heat. Because I'm sure that Marty Foster really wants to have an argument tonight. So the count 1-2 on Josh Willingham. Could not hold up, so a strikeout for Hughes.
Life here moves fast. Shouldn't your news keep up with you? Every weeknight, watch the 10 o'clock news with Brenda Blackman and Harry Martin. Give us 9 minutes and we'll give you the important news and weather without delay. Or stay longer for more in-depth stories. The 10 o'clock news on My 9, weeknights.
That's going to bring up Hideki Matsui. Matsui walked in the first and grounded to second in the second. Now, he has 7 home runs, Matsui. The first one was against a right-hander. The next 6 have been against lefties. I was talking to a couple people with the A's, Paul, and this will make sense to you. That Matsui's bailing on every pitch. And against righties, he just rolls over and hits a ground ball a second. Against lefties, sometimes the ball tails back in. He might run into one.
Yeah, it's nothing new either. It's kind of his style. You'll see this front hip kind of, it just opens up. But his upper half stays in place. But it's a very hard thing to do. Because usually when your front hip moves, your shoulder and head go with it. And, you know, he's always been able to open that front side up and keep his hands and his shoulders square.
And he's rolled over a lot of pitches and hit a lot of ground balls to second base. That one is a line drive to right coming on. Swisher, he makes the play. He throws to first. And Posada has to come off the bag. But Matsui with a loud out, the second out of the inning.
Again, fastball hit right on the barrel. Swisher gets a good play on it. You know, even if you look back, and Nick Swisher's having a blast. 3-run homer, making plays in the outfield.
Here's Sizemore against Hughes. Breaking ball has popped up and out of play.
Now, if you're Phil Hughes, you look at this night, and you know, even if you get the win, you go a couple more innings, you still go home thinking, you know, I've got to get better. And obviously, you can say, hey, it's hard to concentrate. It's 100 degrees. I had a 12-run lead at one time, but you know, he's so fresh out of the minor leagues that, you know, confidence is what he's trying to build. He should be as sharp mentally out there as anybody. Kind of like you coming off vacation, Michael.
Absolutely.
Sharp, huh?
Feel good. And the 0-2. Count 1-2. You're locked in for a 10-game streak. That's big for you.
I like that. I tried it earlier in the year. We made it through. Didn't throw any punches up here, so we try it again.
1-2. Swung on and missed. Off speed. Has Sizemore down on strikes. But 3 runs on 3 hits, 1 error, and 1 man left. 14-5. Brought to us by BMW. Hideki Matsui is one of 5 World Series MVPs who switched teams in the subsequent offseason.
I got 1.
Who are the other 4, Paul?
Edgar Renteria is one of them, right?
Let's see. Yeah.
Oh, Wet. I forgot
John
about
Wetland.
John Wetland.
You lived that one. Ray Knight and Jack Morris.
I just thought about Renteria because he plays in Cincinnati now. I remember he was the MVP.
Not playing that well in Cincinnati.
No, he's not even playing every day. You know, you look at Matsui and what he's accomplished over in Japan, and I mean, he was an idol over there. We saw that face on the side of airplanes for a while. He was so popular. I just wonder what, if you ask him, you know, some of his biggest memories, if the majority of them are in Japan or, you know, winning a World Series in Yankee Stadium, or, you know, where they rate as far as playing at home and playing over here in the States.
You're going to have to find him tomorrow and ask him now.
You're interested in that too?
Yeah. I would say, I mean, he was a god in Japan. But, I mean, winning the World Series with the Yankees and being the MVP, you just didn't contribute. You were the guy.
Well, it also shows that even if you're the best and, you know, you're living the life of a star over there, he was still anxious to come over and play in the major leagues in America.
Here's Faustino de los Santos. 3rd pitcher used by the A's as we go to the bottom of the 4th. 14-5 Yanks. There's a strike to Eduardo Nunez. Nunez is 2 for 2. Knocked down by De Los Santos. Karams out to Weeks, and you score that 1-4-3 for the first out. Took a base hit away from Nunez. Now the Yankees scored 9 runs in the third. The 9 runs scored that inning were the most scored in an inning this year. The previous high was 8 against the Mets on May 22nd. And they also had 7 hits the Yankees did in the third, and that tied a season high. De Los Santos with the long sleeves.
I was just going to say that. You can't see his signs either. I tell you, pitchers are weird about some pitchers wear sleeves. I don't care if it's 100 or if it's 30, they're going to wear sleeves. But then, you look at other sports, some of the football players, it could be 20 below zero out, and they're with nothing on, no sleeves.
A lot of the Packers are like that.
Mm-hmm.
The 1-0. There's a strike to Cervelli. Cervelli is 2 for 2 with 2 runs. De Los Santos just threw 97 miles an hour on that fastball. Count 2-1. A's general manager is Billy Beane, and I believe he's the only general manager that actually owns part of the team. That was one of the things that the owners gave him to stay. And he certainly made a name for himself with Michael Lewis's great book, Moneyball. You need one of those fans, Paul. But Moneyball's coming out as a movie in September.
Oh, yeah, with Brad Pitt. Right?
Imagine, you're living the life when Brad Pitt gets to portray you.
I was surprised because I saw, like a trailer for that, the highlights in it. That Brad Pitt was in a baseball movie.
Check swing by Cervelli. It's a little annoying though, because if for any reason there was a movie where I was a central character, you'd have to bring back John Candy from the dead to play me. That's pretty much it. I can't even think of anybody else who would fit the role. 3-2 outside. Cervelli walks.
The Michael Kay story with John Candy. That's what we're looking for.
Well, maybe our producer Bill Baldwin said maybe little Vince Vaughn. He puts on some weight.
So if they showed like you in the booth and I'm doing a game with you, who would be doing like Kramer up here doing me or something?
I think you could play. You could play yourself. Well, you and Michael Richards had one of the great television scenes of all time.
Yeah.
You said I hit how many home runs?
That was a fun day. We actually played a game that night.
Oh, really?
Got picked up, driven over to the set. At the time didn't know much about the show. Now I realize how great the show was, and shot that scene a couple times. Was back at the ballpark by like 3, and faced it. I'm talking about weird things that go through your mind. Chuck Finley pitched that night in Anaheim.
How'd you do?
Not real good. Chuck Finley and I didn't. He usually got me out.
I think the classic line was Kramer said, "I promised him that you'd hit 2," and Paul comes back and says, "Why'd you go and do that for?" Did you nail it first time?
We did it twice. But the funny thing about it, I was in there getting, they put the makeup on you and tell you where the set is and everything. And Michael Richards walks in and like introduces himself and starts talking a little bit, and I'm like talking back to him, and I'm like, is this guy in character or is this the way he is? And that's kind of the way he is.
The 0-2. Inside 1-2. Lee Mazzilli just rang in with a suggestion for me. John Goodman.
John Goodman. I don't think that's the one you were looking for, was it?
You know what? You got to face facts. Swing and a miss. Gardner down on strikes. Yankees broke this open in the bottom of the third with 9 runs. It took 29 minutes and 17 seconds. 14 batters, 7 hits, 9 runs, 3 walks.
You know, as a manager, you're hoping that, you know, you tack on a few more runs here, that Phil Hughes can turn it around, and you keep this spread in runs so you can get some of your guys out. You know, you could get Derek out in the 6th inning maybe, and some of the guys that need some at-bats off the bench, but you can't do that in the 4th inning. You know, the 6th, 7th inning, okay. So you hope that things stay as is, so you can get some of your guys out of there.
My wife just checked in with Kiefer Sutherland.
Does that bother you when your wife's sending in who you should look like, or?
No, that's who she thinks I look like.
Oh, okay. Well, you got 4 to choose from. We'll do the trivia tomorrow, all right?
Jeter cannot hold up. 1-1.
I'm impressed, though. Your wife sits and listens.
What was that?
I'm impressed.
That
Sits home and listens.
Yeah. Sitting at work and
I
listening.
guarantee Neville's out to dinner with the kids. She might throw a text on who won or something later.
1-1. Swing and a miss.
I'll tell you who's watching tonight. It's got to be watching tonight. Frankie's watching tonight. Frankie had surgery yesterday.
Frankie Mary?
Frank and Mary, yeah. Frank had
Was Frank
surgery.
all right?
Yeah, he's okay. Probably on the couch by now, but he said to be all fine by the weekend so we could go out tomorrow night. So
Jody and I are free. 14-5, the A's lead the Yankees here in the bottom of the 4th inning. And the 1-2. Count 2-2.
Santos 98. Just that doesn't lie. 98's 98. You know what? Back to how it comes out of your hand. 98's fast. Don't care how it comes out of your hand.
The 2-2. Outside, 3-2. So Jeter tonight is 1 for 2 with a walk. He has 3 runs batted in. .28 on the season. Runner goes, and that one is just fouled off.
I'll tell you, Mike, I went in to get an iced tea last inning and in the media line, and you know, you usually run back there and just get a little scoop of ice cream.
Right.
I'm telling you what, it was 10 or 15 deep. Looked like the women's room at a rock concert or something. It was out the door.
And the 3-2. Did you get it, or did you say, I got to get back?
I couldn't leave you hanging here by yourself.
Thank you.
No? You see Jeet, I mean, he's still staying with his routine. He's talking to himself. He's getting his stuff. So, you know, you can tell that concentration is still there, still trying to get hits, trying to put together good at-bats. Wow. That's a tough pitch to hit there. That's 97 off the plate away.
This kid's pretty impressive. Cervelli is probably getting winded. He's taking off on 3-2.
Well, the only time you can go with this big a lead is 3-2, obviously, but even the first baseman's not even there.
Jeter wins that battle. Cervelli will go to third. Jeter picks up his 2nd hit and his 3,012th hit.
You know, I remember looking at the list when Derek was going towards 3,000, and there's only a few not in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose, obviously, the all-time hit leader. He had his troubles. Craig Biggio, who will be up for the Hall of Fame, will naturally be in it. But then there's the questionable ones, Rafael Palmeiro, right? Because of what has happened. What do you think? That's
I don't think
usually an automatic ticket.
I don't think he gets in it because he failed a test.
Right.
I mean, there are others that have, before the testing was in place, they admitted to doing stuff. I mean, that's a judgment call for the riders, but he failed the test when the testing was in place. And also wagged his finger at Congress, which I don't think is going to make him any friends. He's at 3,020 hits. The 0-1. 0-2. Here's a list as Derek climbs up that list. He can move into 21st place easily by the end of the season. 43 more hits to go to get to Ricky. Hot shot foul. And a kick save and a beauty. What's this? Oh, this is... like Henrik Lundqvist. Pitch inside. Now, just off stats alone, we talk about Palmeiro's 3,020 hits. He had 569 home runs. A 1-2. Swing and a miss. De Los Santos, 97 miles an hour. No runs a hit, no errors, and 2 men left. We've got 4 in the books. Yankees lead the A's 14-5. Built so you can rule the air. And by MasterCard. MasterCard introduces Priceless New York, a collection of experiences reserved for MasterCard card holders. We go to the 5th inning here at the stadium. It's all Yankees, 14-5. They've knocked Trevor Cahill out. And Phil Hughes trying to pick up his second victory. Goes to the 5th inning. He has to get these 3 outs. He's thrown 81 pitches, and there's pitch number 82. A strike to David DeJesus. Found out something very interesting today, and I think, and you see on the McDonald's scoreboard 14-5, I think it really is important to tell you that it's supposed to be very hot in New York City tomorrow. Upper 90s again. And Gene Monahan, the Yankee trainer, told me something today. He said, you can't start hydrating when you're out and you feel hot. He said you almost have to prepare for the whole day before. You've got to eat fruit. You've got to have water. Don't start to hydrate when you start to feel woozy, because then
too late.
Yeah, the trouble is already there. And that's whether you're coming to the ballpark tomorrow to come to the Yankees-A's game, or if you're going to be in Central Park or whatever. Start now. I mean, you've got to stay hydrated the entire day. It's some scary weather out there.
Gino knows, too.
He knows.
Gino's inside right now. See Stevie out there on the bench.
There's a ground ball through for David DeJesus, a base hit.
Phil Hughes, I mean, you're in the 5th inning, you've got a big lead, but again, it's like nothing is clicking to the point where he can have a 2 or 3 inning stretch where, you know, he looks good, and it's just like he's struggling with his control. He's struggling, you know, he had a good breaking ball early in the game, but his fastball location wise, and you're talking about a team that, you know, came in here, hasn't been swinging the bat real well.
There's a strike to Connor Jackson. He had a double and a run scored in the second. Now, for the fans that are here tonight, there's a ground ball again through for a base hit, and Phil Hughes is pitching himself into a situation. He's not going to get the win here, and he's going to be beating himself up, having a 14-2 lead. Now, Larry Rothschild is out, but the bullpen is busy again. So the A's have runners on first and second and nobody out.
And the last thing that Joe Girardi wants to do, or Larry Rothschild, is to take him out and not at least give him the confidence of getting another win under his belt. But, you know, you're trying to just milk him through this. You know, maybe he can get to 100 pitches through the 5th inning. I think you also have to remind him, you know, get through this. Get some outs. Let's go.
I just wanted to finish the point with the fans. There are 11 hydration stations here at the stadium today. So people are staying hydrated. They're making that available to people, and you have to be careful on a night like this and a day like tomorrow, because today it was 104 degrees in Central Park, and at Newark Airport it was 108, which is the highest recorded temperature ever for any day in Newark, New Jersey. So we have record-breaking temperatures. We want everybody to be careful today. They say that that's not a good thing to do because you're actually heating yourself up by fanning yourself.
Learned a lot today, Mike.
The 0-1. What's the worst city for the worst heat? Humidity?
National League, St. Louis. Right on the
League?
American League. The hottest game I remember playing was in Baltimore. The humidity absolutely kills you there.
The 1-1. Swing and a miss, 1-2. St. Louis must have been brutal then at Old Busch Stadium with the artificial turf.
And it had that old turf that got hot. Yeah, it was, and you know, they always had that 12:30 getaway day there. And it just seemed that was the sunny day where it was 100 degrees. And I'll tell you what, it's a fan base that they love baseball. There would be, just like here, I mean, there would be a full house, 100 degrees in the middle of the day.
Well, this afternoon, the Yankees did not take BP, and that was from the advice of Gene Monahan, the trainer. He said you have to save it for the game. They got in late as well, so they had a late reporting time, but it was 120 degrees on the field here. That's what the thermometer said, so tough times. And that's the way you combat it, right, Paul?
That looks good. Ah, there you go.
There's a ground ball to third. Let's see if they can turn two. There's one. On to first. Not in time. Quick release by Cano.
You know, Robbie almost is tricking the runner because he stands so upright and just waits to catch it so late that he don't even think he's going to turn two. But he has such good arm strength, he doesn't have to pivot and get much on the I mean, he just throws a bullet like that.
He's not coming up for air.
He lost a straw in there. That's what happened. Yeah, that's not Grader's ice cream from Cincinnati either. Probably Turkey Hill, right?
No, you know what that is? And my nephew Dylan has it every time he comes to state. It's a Johnny Rocket shake.
Oh,
it's supposed to just rock. Yeah,
they sent them up here.
Yeah.
They're unbelievable.
There they are.
We got a Johnny Rockets in Cincinnati too. You think we opened up before that one? Huh? Maybe
No,
we got Johnny
I think,
Rockets first.
I think we did.
We talked about Burger King last time. Like, you had Burger King too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, no, Burger Chef.
Burger Chef. About. That's right.
We're going way back now.
You guys just getting your first McDonald's there in Cincy?
Yeah, we got two of them. No worries.
So a 3-0 count on Cliff Pennington, who is 2 for 2 against Hughes. 14-5 Yankees over the A's. Runners on first and third, one out. And he walked him, and he continues to labor. And will Joe Girardi lift him? Will he lift him? He's going to take him out, and he is not. Well, I don't want to. He's waiting to see if.
Yeah, he's out.
Wow. You have a 14-2 lead after 3 innings, and you do not get the win. And Phil Hughes has really. Paulie has nobody to be disgusted with but himself.
No, I mean, you look at it, it could be a 2-1 game or a 14-5 game. He is laboring. He cannot get any kind of rhythm together. You just hope that, this is one of those days where he builds arm strength and he gets better and better.
So Phil Hughes has a lot to think about as the Yankees try to stop it right here. Bases loaded with 1 out. They're up by 9.
The Yankees take on the Athletics. The first 18,000 guests, 14 and younger, will receive a collectible truck, the 7th in a series, courtesy of W.B. Mason. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com. Visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9843. I wish I'd have had your phone number, Michael. I'd have just thrown it on there instead of it.
I might have had to punch you. Hector Noesi. This will be his 14th game. He could pick up his second win. Now, it's not automatic that you just take over in the 5th inning. It becomes the official scorer's discretion. But we know it's not going to be Phil Hughes, and that cannot make him feel too good. Here's Jamal Weeks. And that one is laced into left center field. It is a base hit. 2 runs will score for the A's. A 2-run single for Weeks, and now it's 14-7. Weeks is 3 for 4.
Saw him earlier in the game hit a breaking ball, and he pulled it to right field. This is a fastball away, laces it to left field. Good approach. Fastball tailing away. Good swing. See two runners score that quick together. Right?
Suzuki and De Jesus. Suzuki right on his back. Here's Crisp. Let me ask you this, Paul. Why did Joe Girardi do that? Obviously, Phil Hughes probably could have worked out of this inning and got himself a victory. Was that, I'm teaching you a lesson, or he was afraid the game was going to get away?
I don't think it's either, really. I think that he just saw him laboring. He didn't want him to get to the point where, you know, he goes over his comfort range to try to get this win and get back into stressing his arm out possibly. You got to remember, in 5 days you're going to be back out there. I know as a manager you do everything you can to try to get a starter to win, especially in this situation. But you know, this is a circumstance that, you know, you've got a guy coming back from injuries, and you're still, you know, we saw his velocity, we saw his location. You're still not back to where you want to be. So you almost now turn the page and look at this game as a game that he could build some arm strength and hopefully get better next time out.
Crisp, a .320 hitter with runners in scoring position. Count 2-2. The 2-2 pitch. Squibb the other way. And the pitch. Grounded foul. Pennington off second, Weeks off first. Noesi on in relief of Hughes. I'm surprised that body piercing is in during a game. I don't know if he could take it out. I don't know where it connects, but we showed it before.
You recharge him? You connect him?
I don't know. Usually guys take off their earrings and stuff like that.
It doesn't look like something that you just remove day in and day out.
3-2.
Michael, you just came from vacation.
Right.
You told me you went to the Hamptons for a little. So
right.
paint me a picture. I've never been there. I don't understand the thing. At least I haven't been there. So paint me a picture of this place.
Here's the 3-2. Strike three. Wow. Crisp down looking. And he is not happy.
It wasn't even close. And Michael, you said that Foster has been staying in, and this to me looks like a ball. I've had enough. And as a hitter, it's frustrating because it's just an at bat. I mean, you can tell from the bench. I mean, this ball's going to be away.
And now Marty Foster is going to throw somebody out probably. Oh, you can hear him say, I said knock it off, that's enough.
This is what frustrates me, and I can talk about it now. I mean, put your mask on and call the game. You cannot be happy as a player. You cannot be happy. So what?
Here's Josh Willingham. No, I'm going to take umbrage with that. You can't let the guy just curse at the umpire and make a scene like that.
He was all the way back in the dugout.
Yeah, but he's slamming the bat against the. He's screaming.
So what's wrong with that?
I can't answer you. You're right.
The bat didn't treat you well. You got to teach it a lesson.
No, I'm not. I agree with you. Some of them have rabbit ears, but I mean, you could hear that from the upper deck. I think he let him get away with a lot of stuff, barking as he was, leaving the plate.
But then I think in the dugout he wasn't talking. I think it was Foster screaming at him.
1-1, and you can see Bob Melvin and Joel Skinner saying it's not about you.
Right.
It's been a frustrating year for the A's. A year where they don't score a lot of runs, but they have 7 on the board and they're still losing. They're getting doubled. It's 14-7. The 2-1. The count 3-1. Hideki Matsui is on deck.
We talked about it earlier. I am going to look into that tomorrow, Michael, about where his greatest memories are, here or back in Japan.
3-1. Grounded to third. Nice short hop pickup there by Nunez. And the out was made at third, so the throw to first wasn't necessary. You score that unassisted 5. The A's get 2 more runs on 3 hits. 2 left. I'll explain the Hamptons to Paul when we get back. 14-7 Yanks. History. You got me flustered. Brought to you in part by Audi Truth and Engineering. With 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th on July 22nd of 04. Ruben Sierra hits a walk-off home run to give the Yankees a 1-0 win over Toronto. This day in Yankees history.
This day in Yankee history just showed up with milkshakes. I like that.
Here's Mark Teixeira. He has a grand slam today. Pitches outside. Yankees leading 14-7 on the McDonald's scoreboard. Brought to you by McDonald's. Stop by McDonald's today for some juicy, tender chicken McNuggets. De Los Santos deals a strike. Teixeira struck out in the first, walked and scored in the third, and then hit a grand slam in the third. Very quick lead, Paul, on the. Oh, look what they brought. The You Spoke, and
nice.
Johnny Rockets came through.
There's one missing because you said, "Oh, I tried to take it from the back row so nobody would notice." Thank you very much. That's good. Come on now, I'm waiting. I want to know.
That one is lofted to left field. Long run for Matsui. There's one away. The Hamptons, it's right on the water. The Atlantic Ocean.
Right.
Beautiful beaches. Great restaurants.
I mean, beautiful beaches like Cabo or Florida or like Long Island beaches.
Beaches that would rank with any place.
Oh,
in the
really?
world.
Okay.
I mean, it's a beautiful place. Very, very relaxing. I mean, there's great restaurants. It's not a theme park thing. Water slides, things like that. It's just beautiful beachfront stuff.
Well, it's like, I mean, Thurston Howell, is he walking around people with ascots? And
there's some wealth
too?
out there.
Yeah,
there's some wealth out there.
Okay. Restaurants, nice restaurants.
Great restaurants. You would enjoy yourself. I'm surprised you never got out there.
You know what? That's kind of opposite.
It's always
of
the summer, right?
Yeah, it's just didn't work. Don't give my wife any ideas.
I'm going to tell her when I see her.
One that she hadn't thought about, I don't think. I'll tell you what, that last pitch, nasty. He throws a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, and then he throws that hard slider. It was 98.
The bottom of the fifth inning.
It's 98, right off the outside corner after he just busted you in with a hard slider. Let's see how you're. A lot of hope in this guy's arm. Good fastball, good slider.
Cano is 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored today. Single, double, the fly ball to left. The 1-2.
Wow, there that thing is again. That's a 86-mile-an-hour like cutter. Sometimes I don't think pitchers know how good they are. I mean, this right here is really good. I mean, that's Mariano, like cutter in on his hands, and then the last pitch was 98 on the outside corner.
Look at that. She's fanning her husband. That's great.
That's the old school there, right? You better like the people you sit by on nights like this, huh?
Yes. The 1-2. This game has a great pace so far. Bottom of the fifth inning, 2.5 hours in.
The big lockout, we wanted to throw a football score at you tonight, 14-7. Seemed like we were on the verge of getting that thing fixed, and then I heard that the news was bad today.
I think it'll get done.
I think it will too. I tuned in to listen to you on the radio. You didn't even show up for that thing.
Called a vacation.
Yeah.
I'll be back on Monday.
And where is that?
3 to 7, 1050 ESPN New York.
I got my dial there.
Thank you.
It's hilarious when I get picked up at the Doral. They drive me. It's riding on 1050.
There you go.
You want to listen to Michael K? Not really, but it's on anyway. I catch up on a lot of stuff.
You pick up some nuggets, don't you?
You do have a lot of things going on in your head. I'll tell you that. What's the guy that helps you? The big
Don
fan?
LaGreca.
He's got to be loving life these days, huh?
He is. He feels pretty good about things. Swing and a miss, 96 miles an hour. Let's see what's going on. This is what if I had a talk show today, I'd be talking about some of this. Wow, Cargo, 15-day DL with a strained wrist. David Wright is back, activated from the DL with a broken back. Let's see. Oh, wow, the Brandon Webb undergoes shoulder surgery. That's awful. He was such a great pitcher with Arizona. And the Mariners were on a 12-game losing streak, and They're trailing 7-1 to the Red Sox at Fenway, so it's probably going to go to 13. And that was King Felix against John Lackey. So King Felix not royal tonight.
Seeing Brandon Webb and the Texas Rangers, I saw the end of the news about Nolan Ryan, and I'm sure you know what happened.
He just had he's had heart problems, and he didn't feel great, and they checked him into the hospital, but everything checked out okay. Nolan, of course, is one of the owners of the Rangers. The 0-1.
Wow, I tell you what, I don't know where that pitch is. De Los Santos, I mean, this guy, every once in a while you just see a guy you don't know much about, and you just watch him throw, and you think, wow, this kid could really, really be something special, because you go over, and he's really only thrown 2 pitches, but one of them's 98, there's 97, and the other one's a slider or a cutter that he can get in on lefties. So he's not going to be a guy that can only get out righties. He'll be able to dominate both sides of the plate.
Swing and a miss. An impressive inning.
Tough
for De Los Santos as the Yankees go down in order and they strike out twice. He is dealing right now, but the Yankees are up 14-7 as we go to the 6th. Baseball, the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by Men's Warehouse. You're going to like the way you look. Angels 2-1 over Baltimore. The Orioles really, really struggling. Tampa Bay splits 4 with the Yankees, losing 4-1 to Kansas City. Texas 6-0 over Toronto in the bottom of the 5th. Texas has been red hot. White Sox 3, Cleveland 0, top of the 7th inning. Detroit 4-1 over Minnesota, top of the 5th. The Mets 5-4 over Florida, bottom of the 7th inning, as Hector Noesi takes one to the mitt, takes a couple. Cubs 4-2 over Houston, that's a final. Philadelphia 3-1 over San Diego. Philadelphia's pitching continues to sparkle. 5-4 St. Louis over Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's in first place. Cincinnati 4-4 Atlanta, top of the 9th inning. And later on, not too much later, right about now, Colorado and Arizona. Washington at the Dodgers. Donnie Baseball at the helm. Milwaukee at San Francisco.
You talk to him at all, Donnie?
I've had him on the show a couple times, yeah.
He absolutely loves managing. I talked to him when he was in town playing the Reds, and you can only root for him. You root for him as a player, as a friend, as a manager now, and he just absolutely loves what he's doing.
Matsui hits a bullet to Jeter, and the ball is dropped by Posada. We'll see how they score. That should be an E3. I think Posada got crossed up with his feet. in switching as he was trying to stretch to the outfield side.
You're right, Michael. Ball hit right on the nose. Came up on G. Certainly a ball that Georgie could handle.
Wow, they're giving an error to Jeter on that. I don't know about that. Official scorer is Howie Carpin. Outstanding at what he does, but boy, if Posada stretched, he didn't have to scoop that ball.
And the thing is, I mean, Derek Jeter's your everyday shortstop. You don't want to throw an error. And an error to Jorge when he's playing first base is not, you know, it's just.
I think that's Posada's error. I wouldn't be surprised if Howie changes that. Just Jorge seemed like he got crossed up.
Didn't know whether to let it short hop
Right.
or go ahead and catch it in the air, and he kind of got caught in the middle.
Hot shot. Low bridge from Mike Gallego.
Oh, wait till I talk to Gallego tomorrow. I'm going to tell him, you know, Gags, if you were 6 foot, that would hit you right in the head, but it went right over you. Gags, one of the funniest guys I've ever played with. Gags out there throwing BP today. You talked about the Yankees. They didn't hit, but Oakland was out on the field. They had a day off yesterday, so they needed to get out and lose.
That's how close it was. Now let me ask you about Gallego, Paul, because you know I used to talk to Gene Michael, who was the GM at the time, and he felt that the thing that really started to turn the tide when the Yankees had hit rock bottom at the beginning of the 90s, even before they acquired you, was when they signed Mike Gallego and Spike Owen, where those are two guys that could change the culture of a team. Do you agree?
I do. Not just for, you know, they weren't going to go out and drive in 100 and hit 30 home runs for you, but their personality, the way they played the game. I mean, you're looking back here, he knew how to play, knew how to handle the bat. Wow, look at the difference. See the seats open out there. But I tell you what, it did change. Joe McGrane looked like right there. But Gags, I mean, they're players that enjoyed winning and enjoyed, and it changed the clubhouse is what it did. I mean, they were just good guys to play with.
I believe that Mike Gallego is the last Yankee before Derek Jeter to wear number 2.
Wow, that's a good trivia question. Gads could play anywhere. He plays second base, shortstop, fill in at third. He had really, you know, great fielder, good hand.
Strike 3, Sizemore down looking. Now you also crossed paths at the same time with Spike Owen.
He came over the same year.
Okay.
Boggsy and Spike and I think came in the same year, and Gags was already here. He was here a couple years before, I think. Boy, it seems like a long time ago, huh?
It is. It's almost 20 years.
Wow.
Here's David DeJesus. And that one is drilled out to left field. Giving chase is Gardner. It's going to be over his head and bounces up against the scoreboard. Matsui will stop at third. It's a double for DeJesus. And the A's have runners on second and third with 1 out.
And that's a pretty good piece of hitting. Ball didn't quite get to the outside corner, but Jesus drives it to left center field. I mean, that ball's hit well. And we talked about the heat, how the ball carries. I mean, the ball is just flying out to the wall tonight.
Here's Connor Jackson, second and third, 1 out. Connor is 2 for 3 tonight. Nice block there by Cervelli.
You look at these games with Oakland, and you said, if you're an optimist, they're in third place. I mean, they're not going to win the West. That's just the way it is. But, as a player, you have to realize when you bring in a new manager, they bring in Bob Melvin, you're still trying to impress him. I mean, what happens the next couple years here is what you're trying to be part of turning this team around. Well, you've got to impress the manager. You've got to show what you – and these are the games that – guys that are out there battling, swinging the bat, making good plays. Those are the things that stick in managers' heads when they think about the future of this team and where it's going to be. And the Oakland A's are not going to lose forever. They've got too many good pitchers. And if we talked about it earlier, they've got a tradition. They win out there. They've won World Series. They've had Hall of Fame players. It's not like they're an organization that's never done it before. They know how to. And they'll get back there. And as a player, you got to understand that it's an opportunity to put yourself in a position where a team, when you start turning it around and start winning, that's fun to be a part of.
Here's a 1-2. Popped up. That will not get a run in. Nunez will make the play in foul territory for the second out. Yankees have won 10 in a row against the A's. That's tied for the longest current streak for any team against any opponent. The Tigers have had that streak over the Twins, and they're playing the Twins tonight. And they're leading, so they're looking to go 11 in a row. Yankees have also won 24 of the last 28 against Oakland. And remember when Tony La Russa was there and Buck Showalter was the manager? I mean, there was one year that the A's swept the Yankees. I believe it was they were 13-0. And it all started to turn around. I wonder if you remember this, Paul. We'll have to have you wait until the bottom of the 6th inning as that one's popped up. Posada will make the play. And that will do it. No runs, a hit, 1 error, and 2 men left. We go to the bottom of the 6th, 14-7 Yankees. Seven Yankees lead the A's. They actually just showed Paul's sterling acting on Seinfeld. They showed that scene with Kramer and everything. Pretty good stuff. Crowd gave you a nice ovation as Brian Fuentes takes over. Anyway, I just wanted to say where I thought it turned. I'm not sure if you were on this team by that point because you guys had probably turned it by then. But the Yankees had gone 0-13 against the A's, and La Russa was yelling at Matt Noakes behind the plate, and Buck started screaming. This was the old stadium, screaming at La Russa to stop it, and the two of them had a fist fight behind home plate by the screen.
I think that was the year before I got there, and I did hear a lot about it, and I did play with Matt Noakes. But, yeah, I do remember hearing about it. I wasn't part of it. You talk one of the guys that could be involved in the trade deadline. You know, everybody knows that the teams. I mean, here's a lefty. He's signed up for next year also. Who knows? He could end up somewhere. Could probably set up, get lefties out. Been a closer most of his career.
Here's Posada.
You know, it's funny, you interviewed Gino before the game, and how long has he been here? 40-some years?
49
years. And I was over in the other clubhouse talking to Luka Kuza and talked to Steve Vucinic, and I mean, he's been here, same kind of, not a trainer, but with the organization in the clubhouse for 44 years. I think he told me he started when he was about 14 or 15 years old.
Right.
And just going back through and he was telling them about the 70s, and I was asking him, you know, Joe Rudy, Sal Bando, guys that I remember watching, and he remembers things about them like it was yesterday. And it's really neat to see guys that have been in the game that long, have seen everything from World Series to seasons where you lose 100. It's just, it was interesting.
I'll tell you what, Paul, those are the keepers of the flame. I mean, the Yankees have had, Pete Sheehy.
Right.
I'm sure you remembered him. You didn't get a chance to work with him. He was the clubhouse guy through all the years, and he started with Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. I mean, he had all you stories. I mean, those are the keepers of the flame.
I mean, there was a plaque on the wall when you walked into the clubhouse that Pete Sheehy. So, you know, guys that have been in in the game that long, never picked up a bat, never picked up a glove, but know so much about the game, and it's just it's neat to talk to people like that. Have seen all those type of players play.
Well, Fuentes, you mentioned he's a guy that somebody could trade for. This is a guy who's closed, and he's closed big games, and he's had big totals as well. He has not had a great season this year, but also had a little bit of a disagreement with Bob Guerin, and that kind of led to Guerin ending up being fired as well. But that's somebody that people are going to be looking into. Got a pedigree. So what did Vucinic say? Did he like Bando? Did he like Rudy?
He knew where they all lived. He have seen them. I mean, and I went around the whole day. I mean, we're talking about Bert Campaneris and Sal Bando, and he brought up Reggie, and those are neat. Catfish, Blue Moon Odom, Vita Blue. I mean, just superstars of the game. And again, that's the time when I really started to notice baseball. So it was interesting to hear stories about guys. And it's funny how when as a little kid you still look at those names and those players like they were in a bigger game than you ever played in, because you just looked up to them.
Billy North, did you talk about Billy North?
Yeah, I actually threw that name out there because there were a couple different center fielders during that run where they won 3 World Series. Raleigh Fingers.
And Cervelli picks up his third base hit. He's 3 for 3 with a walk. Hey, starting Monday, television meets radio every weeknight on My 9. Introducing Dish Nation. It's all the day's hottest pop culture and celebrity chat from the country's top radio teams, including my good buddies Scott and Todd from New York's WPLJ. They are great. They've been doing it a long time. So tune in to Dish Nation weeknights at 6 p.m. starting Monday on My 9.
Scott and Todd, my wife used to listen to them on Love PLJ.
Here's Gardner. Extended his hitting streak to 10 straight with an infield single in the second. That's a slow roller to Weeks. And he gets Gardner for the final out. So a good inning for Brian Fuentes. No runs a hit. 1 man left. We go to the 7th. 14-7 Yanks. The ultimate driving machine. 3 hits for Weeks. His first appearance here at Yankee Stadium. Rookie, they like him a lot. Former first-round draft pick. Coco Crisp, a ribby and a run scored. Scott Sizemore, a double and a ribby. De Jesus, a double. Actually, 2 hits and a run scored. 2 for 4 for Jackson. And Cliff Pennington, 2 for 2, a home run, and 3 runs batted in. The umpire's going in, getting some liquids, I'm sure, trying to
some
cool
ammonia
off.
water. There it is. I'm telling you, it's the ice-cold towel. Brings you back to life.
It's scary.
See, Stevie knows how to do it, too. See, you take a big, deep breath there, and it's perfect.
He's okay. There's Marty Foster back. That's tough. I mean, he is soaked through that shirt, and in the chest protect, they also put ice packs sometimes just to keep the body temperature down. But I mean, we all know about the heat. We've all lived it today, and it's dangerous. It really is. It's dangerous for whether you're playing ball, if you're out and about. It's something that you have to consider, and you can't just ignore it. It's a dangerous situation in New York, and I know a lot of people sitting home watching the game because you don't want to go out in days like this.
That's all you need, is a little fan.
That's his biggest fan. We go to the 7th inning. Yankees 14 and the A's 7. And Cliff Pennington takes outside. 1-0. Grounded right side. Cano right there. And there's one out. Told you the Yankees up 14-7 on the Corona scoreboard. Brought to you by Corona Light. It only gets better. 14-14-2, leading 7-11-1. Jamal Weeks has had a good first game at Yankee Stadium. 3 for 4. 2 singles, a double, run scored. 2 ribbies. Now you think after the game he calls his brother Ricky?
You know, it's funny how to have a brother that plays in the major leagues too, so you can talk to him about certain things. It's really cool. You know, he hasn't been up all year, obviously. He's come up recently, but I mean, he's been hitting the ball, hitting over 300. Kind of built like Reyes, isn't he? From the Mets. Thin.
A little thinner than Jose.
Fastball in. Ooh, looks like he got that on the knee above the protector.
Weak steps out. Grounded to second. Right there is Cano, and he gets Weeks for the second out. And you said it'd be kind of neat to be able to call your brother. These are all the brothers in baseball right now. Brandon Laird's up with the Yankees. We might see him in the next couple of innings make his major league debut. You have the Uptons, the Hairstons, the Drews, the Molinas, and now the Weeks. It's good business to get into.
Now, who are the best brothers of all time? I mean, do you say Hank Aaron and Tommy Aaron because Hank Aaron was one of the best players of all time, or the Alou brothers because they were all pretty good? DiMaggio.
The DiMaggio brothers were great. The Necros were great. You got the Boyers.
Yeah.
The Giambi brothers.
They're on the list.
Yeah.
I think with the Alous, they had 3, though.
They had 3, yep. Now, we found out the information about Coco Chris Pearson. Here it is, Paul. It's a dermal piercing. An anchor is placed under the skin. Once the skin is healed, the screw head or the gem is then added. And the only way you can take it out is with the aid of a medical professional.
You're right then, it's a bolt. Yeah, where does that come from?
Where does the information come from?
Well, who gave you that?
I do some hard work here. What do you think? I'm skidding
ran down
along?
to the tattoo shop between innings, or where'd you go?
I got tattoo people. Piercing people. And he pierces a base hit to center field.
You know, some things are more understandable when you get the logic behind it. You read me that, and I still don't understand it. An anchor under the skin. Well, you know what? Keep hitting line drives.
It looks like it's hollow in there too. No. It's some kind of gem. I'm sorry. It involves the perforation in the subdermal skin layer of the body.
Let me call my son to figure out what that means.
Oh, I thought you were going to call him and tell him to get it.
No, that one's out.
Now, Paul, they're both in college. They could say, "I'm getting it, Dad," and then you could say, "I'm stopping tuition."
Yeah. You still got that one little thing you can say. Just don't, that would really hurt my feelings. If that doesn't work, then you pull the. All right, pay for it yourself.
Hey, another brother team that we didn't mention, the Deans.
Dizzy
and Dazzy.
Dizzy and Daffy or Daffy? Who is Dizzy and Dazzy?
Dizzy and Dazzy. I think it's got to come down to the Alus or the DiMaggios. Daffy. Did I say Dazzy? Daffy.
I thought it was Daffy, but I thought you were going to make fun of me when I said.
No, you were right. No runs to hit, no errors, and one man left. Yep, there's the shake that Paul finished up. At the end of 6.5, it's time for the 7th inning stretch. Yankees lead 14-7. But wait, we're going to stay right here and honor America in the Bronx.
Silent prayer as we remember the servicemen and women who are serving our country at home and around the globe.
See, just soaked through the top of his shirt and through the chest protector as well. A tough night for the umpires, and particularly the home plate umpire with all that equipment and really suffocating type temperatures out on the field. Let's take a look now at the Yankees in-game box score, brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. And there's a lot of hits in there, a lot. Derek Jeter's 2 for 3 with 3 ribbies. Mark Teixeira with a grand slam. Nick Swisher with a 3-run home run. Francisco Cervelli 3 for 3 with a walk. Nunez 2 for 4. And there's a lot of people in the party except for Curtis Granderson, but he's been on and has 2 RBIs. Derek Jeter's due up right now, but coming up to the plate is Brandon Laird. This is his first big league at bat, so you know his heart is thumping right now. And he's going to face Joey Devine.
You only get one first at bat. That's the neat thing about it. Right when you break in, you want to get off to a good start. Oh my goodness.
That's a bad start.
This is like, wow.
He's thinking, I thought they had better control up here.
Oh, completely slipped out of his hands. You can see that. It's like, wow.
Scary. The 1-0 inside on the Corona Light scoreboard, 14-7. 14-7, Yankees lead.
Izzo, you look at that, 26 hits between them. Good swing there. After one behind you and one up and in, then you get one down and away. Resume.
90 games with Scranton Wilkes-Barre, 266, 10 homers, 49 runs batted in. Last year with Trenton, he was the MVP of the Eastern League. That's Double-A. He was in spring training with the Yankees this year. He did not do well, 3 for 26 in 19 games. Originally selected by the Yankees in the 27th round of the 2007 first-year player draft. His older brother is Cardinals catcher Gerald Laird. So the count 3-2.
I remember playing in that Eastern League, and boy, I tell you what, the ballparks aren't like Yankee Stadium, so this has got to be extremely exciting.
First big league at bat in front of 46,921 fans. And the 3-2, way outside. Well, I'll never forget that at bat, Paul.
Wow. Oh, look at the people in the dugout are even laughing. It's all funny unless you're in the batter's box. You're going to see this is just a bit outside.
You know what a great thrill that must be? And I always say this whenever there's a first bat or a first pitch. That's it. You're in the baseball encyclopedia forever. If baseball is around for another 1,000 years, Brandon Laird is going to be there. All of his hard work, and he's here.
As a rookie, you're up there 3-2. You will pretty much swing at anything, but you can't swing at that one. I mean, it hit the Mohegan Sun sign over here. That's a tough one to offer at.
And he can always say, I pinch hit for Derek Jeter.
No.
Yeah, it might be a good time to go to the phone. Joey Devine is not throwing strikes.
I tell you what is a neat thing, though, is you're called up, and you're in Laird's position, you're not going to start, you're not going to get 4 or 5 at bats, but to be able to get in the game and get your first at bat out of the way, whether it's kind of like ricocheting all over the place, but
he doesn't send the pitching coach out. Bob Melvin comes out and says, "This is not Devine, Joey."
They're asking for another rosin bag, I think.
And now Jeff Nelson, the crew chief, is going to talk with Joe Girardi. I guess they do want another rosin bag. I've never understood, Paul, they don't allow pitchers to wear sweatbands. because they say it's a distraction to the hitter. But
Yeah.
it would really help because your arm is sweating and it sweats down onto the hand. So he's going to get another rosin bag.
But I do tell you, if you get into that and you get in, it does kind of, as a hitter, mess you up if, you know, a pitcher wears a sweatband or something.
Well, we've had new pitchers, and now we have a new rosin bag.
No, only in Yankee Stadium. You just say, hey, I need another rosin bag, and they bring out
And they got
rosin.
it.
Huh?
Another brother crew. Little Poison and Big Poison. Paul and Lloyd Wainer.
Wow, that's way back there.
That is way back. But you look up, all our viewers, you look up those guys' stats, and combined they have almost 6,000 hits together. Brad Ziegler, in case it wasn't the rosin bag. I guess it wasn't the rosin bag. The count 3-0.
Foster's back there like, are you kidding me?
Oh.
The catcher's back there scrambling. Speed that up there in the bullpen, would you?
There's a strike. That last one was more the catcher's fault than it was Devine's. That was
What?
within the zone.
I was going to say, he's figuring out where he's got to go.
So 2 straight walks by Devine. This has been some odd game. A's jumped out to a 2-0 lead, and the Yankees had to look back.
Last inning when we had Kramer on the big we need him to tell this guy something.
Here's Mark Teixeira with runners on first and second. He had his 6th career grand slam. That was in the 3rd inning. You know, we're laughing about this, but if you're a hitter, you don't want to get hurt.
No. And Devine obviously is not trying to do this. He's lost his release point and he can't get his hand dry. And some of these balls are just outrageously wild.
There's a strike.
Every once in a while, as a hitter, I mean, you see Teixeira up there taking that pitch. It's almost like stay in there, get a pitch you can hit, and get out of there.
Count 2-2.
I'll tell you what has happened in the last few weeks, Michael, and a lot of people thought the Rays were going to stay in this. It has become a 2-team race in the East. I mean, the Rays are going to have a lot to do with it because they play the Yankees and the Red Sox a lot in this second half. But it seems like the Red Sox and the Yankees have separated themselves enough from the Rays. I didn't think coming into the year, and I think we talked about it, Michael, that the wild card would come from this division, but it could easily happen that way.
I think it looks like it's going to. Although the Rays have outstanding starting pitching, but they have trouble scoring runs. 3-2. Popped up. That's going to make the seats out of play. Here's the American League East standings. Yankees would go to 2 if they win this game. The Rays are 8 back, so 6 back of the wild card, essentially. The Orioles are 20.5 back. The Blue Jays are over 500 at 50-49, but that's only good for 11 games behind. And Joey Devine has walked the bases loaded.
There was a lot of news in Cincinnati that they had been talking to the Rays about trying to acquire Shields. I don't know if you'd have
to give up a lot.
Yeah, give up a lot because he's something.
He's top of the line. You know, it's 1-1A with he and David Price. So that's going to do it for Joey Devine. Bob Melvin says, I'll take that ball. Going to call on Brad Ziegler. That's his 6th pitcher It's 14-7 Yankees. Bases loaded. Stay here. Get better. Citibank, what's your story? Citi can help you write it. And by Mitsubishi, check out the amazing deals on our full line Mitsubishi cars at the Mitsubishi Own Every Road Sales event. Yankees have the bases loaded for Robinson Cano, and he's going to face Brad Ziegler. Trevor Cahill started for the A's. He was knocked out in the third inning without getting it out. Then it's with Michael Wirtz, Faustino De Los Santos, who was impressive, Brian Fuentes, Joey Devine, who walked the bases loaded, and now Brad Ziegler. Good numbers on Ziegler. And Devine still is having a hard time wondering what happened. Keeps shaking his head. Cano 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored. And Ziegler deals outside. So the A's, a team with an ERA of 3.15, getting slapped around by the Yankees. Now you saw that Ziegler had an ERA under 2, which is outstanding, right? But sometimes that could be misleading for relievers. He's allowed 13 of 30 inherited base runners to score. That's just over 43%. That's the 4th most in the American League. So if you're going to come in the middle of an inning, your ERA doesn't mean anything. It's, are you stopping those runners from scoring? Let's see what Ziegler does with these 3. Count 2-1.
See Ziegler, everything's going away. So Robbie, he's going to lean out over there and either try to hook this or drive it to left center field. And until he shows him he can throw something to get him off the plate, you're going to see Robbie just inching over and over and over out over that outside corner.
Hot shot right back to Ziegler. He had the double play at second, didn't throw the ball, probably was shaken up a bit. But that took away 2 ribbies from Cano. Boy, he hit that hard.
These are the bats that frustrate you as a hitter. You try to drive in a few. Just so happens that the guy his glove kind of gets in the way. Good break for Ziegler. Things happen quick out there. You're right, Michael. He did have him at second base, but kind of just happy to catch it in the first place.
Here's Swisher. And that's a base hit for Nick. Laird scores. Granderson scores. It's 16-7 Yankees. 2 more ribbies for Nick Swisher. 5 on the night. And Laird scores his first big league run.
said it, Michael. He's in the book, right?
He's in the
run
book.
Scored. Nick Swisher gets a ball that kind of tails away. For a lefty, very comfortable at bat until he can show somehow to throw a slider or something that gets you off the plate.
Well, there you have Ziegler giving up 2 of the inherited runners and allowing them to score. There's a strike to Posada. Nice block by Suzuki, who's also had a rough night behind the plate. Marty Foster's going to sleep very well tonight.
I'm looking around here, and it's a game that's out of hand. It's started at 100 degrees, and the majority of the people have stayed.
This could be 2. There's 1. On the first, it's a double play. 4-6-3. But the Yankees get 2 more runs on 1 hit, 2 men left. Let's go to the 8th. It's 16-7 Bombers. Nissan, it's Nissan's bottom line sales event, and we're laying it all on the line. Visit ChooseNissan.com or your local dealer today. Some people are heading for the exits in the Great Hall. Texas is all over Toronto 12-1. White Sox 3-0 over Cleveland. Cleveland still hanging in there in the Central. Detroit 8-1 over Minnesota, bottom of the 6th. Mets holding on against the Marlins 7-5. Cubs beat Houston 4-2, 2 of the worst teams in baseball record-wise. 3-1 Phillies over the Padres. And St. Louis beat Pittsburgh 6-4. Here's Ryan Sweeney as he pinch hits for Hideki Matsui. Soft ground ball to second. And there's one away. Yankees have made some changes defensively. Let's take a look. You see Nunez move from third to short. Laird takes over at third base. In the outfield, Dickerson takes over for Gardner in left. Granderson stays in center, and Andrew Jones comes in for Swisher in right. Cano, Posada, and Cervelli still in there, as is Noesi, who took over for Phil Hughes. There's Laird at third.
Noesi's done a good job, too. He's come in here, and, the Athletics were swinging the bat well tonight. They're throwing some hits up against Phil Hughes. Noesi's throwing strikes, gotten some outs.
There's a strike to Sizemore. 0-1. Hammered foul. Swing and a miss. Noesi goes upstairs and strikes out Sizemore. Well, now's your chance. Tag on Russ, brought to you by Toyota. Which of the following, who wore both an Oakland A's and New York Yankees uniform, had the most colorful personality? A. Jason Giambi. B. Ricky Henderson. C. Reggie Jackson. D. Billy Martin. E. Nick Swisher. Text A, B, C, D, or E to 70377 or go to my9tv.com. Find out the results right after the game. It's Tag on Russ, brought to you by Toyota.
Who are you voting for, Michael? You know those guys. You know all those guys.
I think in terms of like a colorful guy, I guess it would be Ricky.
I was going to say you've had, and I've heard of interviews with Ricky and stuff that were, off the charts funny.
I mean, Reggie is an amazing personality.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say he's a colorful personality per se. And Billy was one of my favorite people covering him as a writer.
You said he was good to you.
He was great to me. I think all the other writers that had been there over the first four Billies, they had already formed their opinion, and he felt here was a guy that's going to kind of judge me at even, and we had a great relationship. Here's Connor Jackson. And there's a strike.
When you look back, that's kind of like where you are now. That's kind of like your minor leagues. You were a writer. Do you look back at those times and you enjoyed being a writer?
I did. It's certainly a different job than this, but I got to be honest, it's a lot more work.
Yeah.
Because you can't let the other guys beat you. Here, there's nobody going to beat you. Yankee game's just on this channel right now on TV as Posada puts it away to retire Jackson. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Yankees lead the A's 16-7. Of the greatest closer in baseball. What David Robertson says is the most important thing he's learned from Mariano Rivera on the Verizon Fios game wrap-up tonight on the 10 o'clock news, which is not coming on at 10 o'clock today. New pitcher, Craig Breslow. Those are the numbers on Breslow. All good numbers for the A's pitchers, but not tonight, as they've given up 16 runs. The A's actually carry 8 relievers, and they only carry 3 bench players, which is strange because their starters are so good, but they They'd rather have the extra reliever. Here's Eduardo Nunez, who is 2 for 4. Count 1-0. 16 runs, season high, and the most since they scored 20 against Boston in 09. Foul back.
It wasn't a playoff game, was it?
No.
But they that one playoff game.
19 they scored. That was in 04. That was the year
Book of knowledge, you know what I mean?
That used to be the encyclopedia, remember? Book of knowledge. I think that score was 19-8. And then the Red Sox came back from the 3-0 deficit. The 1-2. 2-2. From New Haven, Connecticut. He now lives in Trumbull, Connecticut. He went to Yale, Paul, and he has a degree in molecular biophysics and biochemistry.
And,
yeah.
You know, you go to Yale, that's not enough. You have one major, that's not. You might as well just throw another one in. I mean, it's pretty impressive if you think about it. And
I would like to see Breslow talk to Crisp about that thing in his neck.
Yeah, he'll break it down for you. And then, you know, in the middle of all that stuff, you have a little career in Major League Baseball too.
Pretty nice. Luis Ayala will probably pitch the ninth for the Yankees as Nunez strikes out looking. Craig established the Strike 3 Foundation, and that raises funds for cancer research. Met him at Jorge Posada's bowling tournament over the winter. Good guy.
Really?
Yeah, really down to earth, fun.
Did you go down there?
No, the one up
here.
here. The one up here.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's Cervelli. And the pitch is low, 1-0. 3 hits for Francisco. Brings his average to 237 now. Also got on base with a walk. Count 2-0. You do well in class in high school, Paul?
You know what? You joke about it. Yeah, I did well. But that's back. I tell you what, if you went to high school today, how much harder it is. You ever look at you don't look at your kids' homework, you don't have any. I mean, I look at my daughter's homework sometimes. It's in 10th grade. It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, but you know what? You have an advantage now. Just pop on the computer, get all the answers.
I can't do that either. I got to call her to do that. It's not like I can cheat, and look something up. But it's gotten a lot harder. A lot of pressure on kids now in school to do well, as there should be. It's important.
A perfect night for Cervelli. 3 hits and 2 walks as Breslow gives him a free pass as we go to the top of the order. And Brett Gardner. No, it's not, because he came out of the game with Chris Dickerson. I apologize. And Suzuki boxes that one, keeps it in front of him. The count 1-0. There's the old-time A's uniform that you like.
That's back from the old days, yeah. This guy shaking his head like, how can my pitching staff let me down like this tonight?
Count 1-1.
He was talking out there. Who was around him? Michael, you think the Yankees will make moves before the 31st?
You know what? Getting back to the story of this game, Phil Hughes, if Phil pitches like that, do they think they need another starter? Or do they think that that was just a blip on the radar screen? I think that Brian's always, working the back rooms and seeing what's out. I think if something presents itself that's fair, I think he'll go for it. I mean, they've got a very deep minor league system now, so they could afford to part with a young player to bring back a veteran for this year. The 2-2. Grounded through for a base hit. And Cervelli will stop at second.
Dickerson gets an at-bat against a lefty, which doesn't happen very often. It's a base hit.
Now here's Brandon Laird, his first big league at-bat. Poor Joey Devine was all over the place and walked him, so now maybe he'll see a pitch that he can actually swing at. He's already scored a big league run. And now he's got a big league base hit, and he's also got a big league RBI. Brandon Laird, his first big league hit, and the Yankees lead 17-7.
Smile. There's a lot of emotion there. Yeah, let her out. That's fun. Like I said, to get all this stuff out of the first round, you know why you get so many reactions in the dugout and how happy people are? Because everybody in the dugout's been through it. Getting that first base hit, Gene Monahan will be the... Oh, don't throw that in the stands. Kevin Long, that better not have been that base hit for him. Gene Monahan will be responsible for writing that up. Didn't waste any time here. Got a fastball away, drove it right back up the middle, hit it hard,
too. They never take that one away from him.
Nope. Leading the league in hitting right now.
Yes, he is. Gene Monahan's been doing it for all these years since he became the Yankee big league trainer in 1973. He is the chronicler of those baseballs. He said he did not mark up the Jeter 3000. He said, I don't want to mess that up. He said, that's got to be somewhere else.
You say Gene has that ball, though. The Hall of Fame wouldn't want that?
I'm sure they'd want it. I'm sure it's up to Derek if he wants to keep it or give it to his parents. Let's see, in the super slow motion, Brandon Laird's first big league hit.
Right off the barrel, good swing.
Well, I thought you made a good point, Paul. I mean, I could feel good for him, but you know exactly what he's feeling. Everybody in that dugout knows exactly what he's feeling. They've all gone through that.
It's exciting to, like I said, to come in and have to get it out of the way your first night. Not have to sit there and get nervous thinking, man, am I ever going to get an opportunity to get a couple of bats in a game like this?
Well, what the Yankees did when they called him up in Tampa Bay, they had him sit and watch a couple of games, and this is the first time he got into a game, and he certainly made it pay off with the walk and the single up the middle.
Much better to get it done in Yankee Stadium.
As Granderson, still the only Yankee without a base hit as he strikes out. But he does have 2 runs scored, a couple of ribbies as well. Laird came up because Ramiro Pena, while the Yankees were in Tampa, had to undergo an emergency appendectomy. And it was on his birthday, too, with an awful present. Here's Teixeira. His 6th grand slam of his career. Last in the 3rd inning. Mark's proud of the home run and RBI totals, but he'd like that average to be higher.
It's unusual, too, because he got off to a better start than he usually does this year. Hit take it away from him. He is a run producer. He has been his whole career. He has been since he's been in New York. I think you talk enough about his defense also. I mean, the right side of the infield, when you put Cano and Teixeira together, I don't think there's a better one in baseball defensively or offensively together. I mean, it's great right side.
Well, the Yankee first baseman, second baseman, and shortstop won Gold Gloves. And I actually think that Alex Rodriguez is underappreciated as a third baseman. I think he does a very good job at third. He has not won a Gold Glove there. He won his Gold Gloves as a shortstop. That one's driven out to deep right field. Going back is De Jesus, and on the track he'll make the play for the final out of the inning. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 left. And it's a big inning from Brandon Laird. He picks up his first big league hit, and that is part of forever. The greatest closer in baseball. What David Robertson says is the most important thing he's learned from Mariano Rivera on the Verizon Fios game wrap-up tonight on the 10 o'clock news. Well, Hector Noesi chewed up some innings for the Yankees. Phil Hughes got knocked out in the third inning without retiring an A. Noesi came in, pitched up to this point. Luis Ayala now will deal here in the ninth, try to get the final 3 outs. Here's Kurt Suzuki. Count 1-0. 17-7. 17 hits for the Yankees. 30 hits combined. Count 2-0. Steve Garrison, a left-hander warming for the Yankees, and he is probably hoping that Girardi brings him in for at least one batter, because he's been waiting since 2005 when he was drafted, and this would be his major league debut. And there's Steve. And Ayala deals a strike to Suzuki. And 3-1. Grounded foul. There's a ground ball to short. And there's one away. Look at Ayala's ERA. Robertson 1.17, Ayala 1.59.
See how comfortable Nunez looked on that ball, and you know, at third base, you've seen him kind of get in between hops, and then it just, you can tell people at their natural position, they just feel more comfortable.
Hey, one thing I want to clear up. I keep saying that Hughes didn't get out of the third. That was the starter for the A's. Trevor Cahill didn't get it out in the third. Hughes actually went 4 1/3. He didn't get out of the fifth, so he doesn't get a chance for a win. And Noesi pitched 3 2/3 innings.
Gave up
for the Yankees.
I think that's an easy decision for the official scorer, right?
Yeah, he's going to get the win. The 0-2. Pennington grounds it to Cano. And the A's are down to their final out. And here's Weeks. Three for 5 for Weeks.
Yeah, he's had a good night. He's pulled the ball on the breaking balls. He's kept the fastball to left field, so he's using all the field. Not trying to do too much. Ayala, and you look at 91, and it looks like he throws harder than that. Some guys just look like they throw harder, and you see that ball got in on it.
Dickerson will put it away, and the Yankees win this game 17-7. They trailed 2-0 after an inning and a half, but 5 in the second and 9 in the third, and they never looked back. They added 2 in the seventh and 1 in the eighth. 17 runs on 17 hits, including Brandon Laird's first big league hit, first RBI. Mark Teixeira with a grand slam. And the Yankees run away with the first game of this long homestand, the first game of this 3-game set with the Oakland Athletics. Much more to come. We've got so much more to do. We've got a lot of awards to give out. The Yankees are now 5